Sui Generis. Sui Generis. Sui Generis. Sui Generis.
Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 188th live stream from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I'm your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. On today's episode, we have a new creature called the Sui Generis, and I'm really curious to see what that is going to be because it is a new creature type, and I think I saw a note in there that it is a cephalopod. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to translate into D&D. So join us today as we find out exactly what Soul Collective has in store for us. But first, as always, updates. We were just talking about a couple updates before that's why we're a little bit late to start. But I was letting Kage know a little bit about my plans and what's happening right now with Misfit Gamer Studios. But I've had some time to rethink how I want to approach a lot of the different projects that we've had. We've had so many different things that we've talked about over the years, and it's just about time that we start treating them more like. I mean, we've treated them more serious over the years, but it's time to start making decisions and discussing these more like business decisions and less just like good ideas. So a lot of that has just come down to me deciding what needs to be done in what order and giving myself realistic timeframes and stop just idly doing things and actually sit down and do them. So part of that is, identifying what the highest priorities are. And OSR, one-shot rivals, is the current priority. That's basically going to be the next big phase and the next real big aspect of Misfit Gamer Studios, especially for streams. That's going to be the next big stream type. Mm-hmm. And with that, we will get a couple knock-on effects for the other projects, because I've been talking a long time about how I'm going to do the website, and instead of just trying to individually piece together all the different parts of the website that I want, OSR will be a great launching point because we already have the domain. Yeah. And once OSR launches, I will have an aspect of it. Part of the URL will be for the game, for the interface of the game. And excellent. Once I have that launched, then it will just be like, well, now that the website's up in some capacity, let's fill it out. Let's get the bios up there because we can just write that up. Let's get links to all we can essentially make our own link tree, all of our social links and things. So realistically, I just had to do a lot of restructuring. And if I really want to get OSR done by the end of the summer, so done by, the end of August, this is really what it's going to, it's going to have to be my main primary focus. So everybody will get a big update on the progress of OSR this Friday. That'll be Friday's stream, is going over everything that we've done so far. I have a few more fine-tuning that I have to do throughout the week, but sure. Hopefully I will have a good amount to present to everybody on where OSR is, how close we are to actually being able to have something that's playable, like as a beta. Yeah. And depends on the next stage on if it's days or weeks that it will take to get the infrastructure that I want for the interface. Because essentially, if I haven't said this already on stream, OSR is hopefully going to be designed with a Jaxbox like interface. I think we did talk about that a little bit at a certain point. And that's where I really need to get the help of someone who can understand how to code something like that, right, along with an interactable like game map, as well as all of the options that would make sense for how someone could quickly and easily, say within 60 seconds, not feel rushed, but very intentionally make more sense of like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, submit. Right. So that will hopefully be able to be done by the end of August, but if not, we will still have a playable version. We'll have a map, we'll have the characters, we'll have the rules. So by the end of August, I will have a playable version. I'm hoping by that same time we could have the interface ready, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll actually have the game mode. I don't know what kind of like development that actually takes. For sure. And we don't have any graphics either, so it's going to be very basic. It's going to have to be almost things that like, like how VTTs use just tokens. That can have something plastered on top. And I feel like we'll probably just build something like that. We can make something like that work. Yeah, just blank little squares. So yeah, that's big. That's the big news there. Soul, where are your minis? I don't know. They should have been here. I based on When
Oh, yeah.
I purchased the packaging and when I sent them out, it estimated that they should have been there by Monday.
Is there like a tracking or anything for that?
Let's see, did I get any sort of
Because
tracking?
I never know how that works. In fact, your birthday present is one of those things. I'm struggling to find the tracking for that.
I completely forgot about that. Let's see. Did I get an tracking update? Because when I purchased it, it said that it said standard delivery, and expect to receive by Monday. So,
Who's the other person that got one? Was it Nugget?
do
Do we know if Nugget received?
I would
anything?
assume we would have heard something
Okay,
the moment these.
I would hope so. You guys got to post those pictures in Discord with your minis.
Okay. Okay. Wait a sec. Whoa, hang on. Here we go. Hold on. Wait a second. Okay, I
Wait
got one
for
update
it.
here for. Okay. This, I believe, is for Soul.
Okay.
Expected delivery date. Soul, you still here with us right now? Are you still in chat?
Looks like it.
I don't want to have to say it twice. I just want to make sure Soul's here. Because I have Soul's update, so.
Wow, my thing is being weird. I can't, like, when I go to actually see who's here, who's in chat, it just shows a blank thing with Ghost. I might need to just refresh my page. That's wild.
All right, well, Soul can always go back to the VOD if they are not here. Okay, there we go. I do assume, because I see the viewership constantly decrease, so. And honestly, I never know.
You just never know.
You never know. All right, so expected delivery for Soul, Tuesday, July 29th by 9 p.m.
Tomorrow by 9 p.m. Is that like Pacific Standard Time?
Yes.
Okay.
Or time frame provided by the estimate is it will attempt to deliver. Well, this is the time they'll attempt to deliver the package. So that is, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's Pacific Standard Time or not.
I mean, I would assume so.
Anyway, so Soul, you can expect your package by tomorrow, 9
supposed to be
p.m.
there today. 1 day delay. That's not too crazy. That's not too crazy.
Oh, where's Nugget?
I
Nugget.
don't know. I did not see Nugget still in chat.
Nugget, are you in chat?
I did not see Nugget still in chat. See, this
Jojo.
is why we assume people leave.
Yes, Jojo, are you still in chat? I'm actually, surprised. I don't think Nugget. Nope, don't think they're there.
Wow.
Because it says delivered.
Oh,
At 1:01 p.m. today.
Oh, I see.
No, I'm sorry. Delivered July 25th.
25th. Oh, that was a minute ago.
So,
welcome, Hecate.
What up, Hecate? What up? So, Nugget has some explaining to do because
explaining to do.
Nugget hasn't said anything.
You didn't even let us know. Send us pictures of your sweet, sweet mini. Wild.
Yep, it says, July 25th. All right, well, Nugget has some explaining to do. What's going on, Hecate? Nice to see you. All right, well, that covers that. Soul, please post pictures in the Discord as soon as you get your package. It would be much appreciated.
Indeed.
I would like to know how the packaging worked out, just to make sure, because I had to repurpose, some old like Amazon boxes.
Sure.
So I made sure that everything was packaged well.
Make sure nothing breaks on the way there.
Yeah, and I believe Soul had 2 minis packed in one little package.
Gotcha.
So I want to make sure
both of them showed up.
That both of those show up. So,
safe
no damage. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed that Nugget never posted about getting their minis. So we need to harass Nugget about this.
Oh, Hecate's got one on his way too. Wait for mine too.
I'm harassing Nugget right now in Discord.
Yes. Harassment, my favorite thing in the world. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys.
Wait for yours too. What? You just messing with me? I'm like, wait, did I miss something? I don't think I missed something. Actually, no. Technically, hang on. Actually, that's not technically true, Hecate. That's not actually technically true.
Which one is it?
What they just said.
That they're waiting for it?
No, what they just said in chat.
Oh. That's what I thought they just said in chat. Oh. Hecate was messing with us, but maybe not? Question mark? Wild. Nugget saying they didn't get it yet. They gotta wait for a key. But it could be in their mailbox. But since the 25th, Nugget, since the 25th, how long ago was the 25th? What's today? The 28th. That's what, 3 days ago? Because I can math. That was Friday. Well, I guess that's fair, over the weekend.
Wait, what happened?
Nugget saying that it might be in their mailbox. They're just waiting on a key.
Ah, okay. So it is.
It's possible it's still there, but they haven't actually personally pulled it up the mailbox yet.
Oh. Okay, that's fair. That's fine. So I think, okay, so I was hoping that they would have had the pictures by now, because then this wouldn't have been like as big of a deal. But I guess I will give away one little tiny surprise, or one little tiny thing that happened.
Okay.
Because I expected at least one of them to have their box open by now.
Fair enough.
So I guess I guess Nugget isn't even here, so Nugget's not going to find this out. So no one tell Nugget this, unless they show up suddenly. But Soul, I guess there'll be a little bit of a sneak preview, a little bit of a surprise,
A little sneaky sneak.
So I happen to have a small packet that I've been holding on to forever, right?
Sure.
Because as a DM, you have a bunch of spare shit.
Oh, of course you do.
And it just
Got
so
boxes of them.
happens that I had a spare little packet of D20s as I was packaging away the minis. I happened to
that's
come across
cool.
these packet of D20s. And so when I tore it open, I'm like, hey, you know what? Just for shits and giggles, I might throw one in for the box. But it just so happened that there were 5. There were
Okay.
specifically 5 D20s in there.
Legit.
So I was like, well, 2 are going to go to Soul and Nugget.
Fair
So there's
enough.
your surprise, Soul. You have a D20
Fire.
as a little surprise in the box. Because I figured, you're coming from us. You're going to have something a little bit more D&D related. So they
Very
both
cool,
got a
very
D20.
cool.
But there was 3 left. There was also 3 actual subbers on the subathon.
That's fair. Well, one that didn't also get a package.
So Vixie got one.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Nice little sparkly
We like that.
blue D20.
Oh, that is very cool. Wild.
There's yours.
Oh, now that is pretty.
Especially, and it just so happens that you choose red as your color.
Yes,
so
indeed.
it's not quite reddish, but it
red,
felt perfect
little
for it.
orangish, almost creamy looking. I like that. That is way cool. That
And
is
so,
way cool.
Hecate, I'm sorry there wasn't a purple one. But for you, since you not only got the subathon, but you did get the 12, I actually have. Oh shit!
What happened?
I totally forgot I have my green screen filter on.
Oh, wild.
I thought that, I mean, honestly, it would be dope if this is what it actually was.
Wild. It's so milky. Look,
That would be so
It's
awesome.
wild.
I'm sorry, that's not what it is. Hold on. I have to actually turn my, that's man,
amazing.
wouldn't that be fucking dope though if I
That's
actually found a
amazing.
dice that looked like that?
That's clean.
There you go. So Hecate, I actually have this for you. I can hold on to it until such time that you get a different type of giveaway, or I can send this to you if you want to email your address to us, and you will have this waiting for you. Depends on whenever you want it. Never knowing what you rolled. But yes, this is so Hecate. You technically did win something since it made sense that we had enough D20s.
These are my Japanese dice that are banned in High Point.
Because I can't fucking read them. But yes, so Hecate, this is yours. It will be here whenever you want. You can email us, Vortex at MisfitGamersStudios.com. You can email me your address and I can get that to you, or we'll hold on to it until such time that you get a different giveaway or some type of prize, and that will be attached.
We'll just know it's marked for you.
All right, you'll want that. Okay, so that'll be held on, and I will remember to give that to you. And if you forget, that'll be your surprise. So
Surprise!
that will be here. Maybe that'll be the Easter egg. The day that you notice that that's not there is the day that you might remember that you're going to get it as a surprise.
Wild. I love it.
It'll just stay there as a reminder to myself. So. See, you know what? It's so funny. We'd always talked about how like we started out not having like, you know, the stacks of D&D stuff because
sure.
Sometimes it feels intimidating and we're just kind of like not into that. But we always mentioned about like it would be kind of cool as you grow and as you like get stuff, like there'll be just things in the background. I kind of like that little Easter egg of people are just going to see that every now and again and be like, what the fuck is that little green thing?
Why is that there?
But we all know.
That's right.
We all know.
That's right. Everyone's going to be like, that's Hecate's.
They're just one day in the stream, it's just going to be gone and we'll never mention it. None of us will ever talk about this ever again.
Until Hecate yells in chat, I got it.
Perfect. So that was a little surprise that I thought everybody would have because I was just like, I opened that packet. Once 2 were gone, I'm like, well, I have 3 more, and there are 3 more suppers. I'm like, well, why not? Why not just give everybody like the one that works? And it kind of goes along with one of the newer projects that I want to actually do. Have I talked about the dice project yet?
Yes.
On stream?
Yes.
On stream. Okay.
Yes, we did talk about that.
So this was
The
kind of one of those.
authentication.
Yeah, this is kind of just one of the aspects of Misfit Gamer Studios leaning into that because I don't want that to be like something not associated to us. It is going to be an extension of us.
Sure.
This is going to be kind of like part of that. But yeah, I really do want to do the dice. Oh yeah, I have actually talked about it because I actually did a poll about it in Discord very recently. I actually asked everybody what kind of naming structure they wanted. So I have actually figured out the template that I want for the authentic, basically the authenticator, the little profile.
Mhm.
I have the card figured out. So I just have to reach out to someone on Fiverr to like make it the size and design that I want.
Sure.
And then I'll figure out what kind of like, you know, how have you ever bought Chesic dice? You know how it has that little slip of cardboard piece in there with a bunch of information on it?
Yes.
It's basically going to be that.
Okay.
I'm going to sell basically those, but with with basically our little printout, and then I'll just hand fill in the stats. So it's just going to be a list of stats for that particular die. And then I'll fill it out. It'll go in the little packet with it. And then those will be up for sale.
That's kind of sick. I love that.
Do y'all want an update on that? I got to go give Vixie back her die. But if y'all want, I can give you guys a quick update on that, or we can just get right into the review. It's Souls, and Souls here. So of course we can get into it whenever.
That's right.
I was about to ask, like, is the person here? I'm like, well, of course they're here.
Is our submitter here? One of the OGs. Of course they out here. That's like good. No, I'm super excited to see what some of the future pieces that we got going on here are gonna end up looking like. But yeah. No, it's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. I'm hyped for it.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad everybody enjoyed that.
No, that was very cool. Definitely not expecting that.
But yeah, it's those, it's like it's the things that makes me more excited to do than the like. I love doing the minis and I love having those, but like little shit like that is what I really enjoy doing.
Yeah,
it's not the I'm gonna give $100 away. It's the thing you didn't expect.
yes.
Feels to me more genuine than just that I'm gonna do a big giveaway and here's the big prize and everybody wants it. It's like, of course everybody wants it, but I love when you walk away with the I didn't know I wanted that.
And I kind of like that Nugget's gonna get hit with a little bit of surprise and they have no idea it's coming.
I hope so. Like I kind of that's what I was kind of hoping for is they get in there, they see their mini and they're like, wait, what the fuck is that?
You're like, oh, that's cool.
Just kind of like almost like a because I think in the future, and so all of you, by the way, well, I mean you three, Nugget's not here, but we do owe you. This is kind of the precursor, but I do think that it will be a standard whenever we do start to have merch or any level of anything. I would love, I don't know how we're going to do it because depending on how we do our merch, if we're not the ones in control of it.
Sure.
But I think it would be great anytime we do a giveaway, a raffle, merch, whenever we are the ones to send it out. It would be great if we could always like slip in like a sticker, like one of our emote stickers or something like that. And this is kind of like the precursor to that because we don't have them yet.
Sure. I was even thinking a little like just little business cards with like our logo, like our links,
exactly.
like stuff, just stuff.
A magnet,
people, you can give it out to other people so that they know who and what we are and all this extra. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's just kind of, there's little things that I want to eventually do, whether we get like a pair of dice that are logoed. Like
like the 20s, the MGS or something like that.
I could even see like percentiles. Just because they're the most unique one and no one ever customizes percentiles. Everyone always customizes the D20.
Yeah.
So what if the percentiles, the double lot and aught were Misfit and like Misfit? Like the dice that I have, the Misfit or something like that. Like we could, I think that would be more interesting.
No, I like
than
that.
just the standard
like
D20.
that.
So, ideas, we're getting there.
Thoughts, ideas.
But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys want to hear about the dice project more, or should we get right into the review? I'm sure Soul just wants to get right into the review. But
Soul says IDK, I use my action to cast invisibility.
Oh, well, where is Soul? Soul is gone. No one knows where Soul is.
RIP. Well, I guess no Soul.
I mean, as DM, I have true sight, so I know where Soul is.
That's kind of fair.
You did go. Oh yeah, you did give me a couple of ideas. I did look through a few of them. I actually saved like 3 of them specifically. Yeah, I still have them. I have 3 of them on my desktop, like bookmarked, but not on my like literally. I put the link on my actual physical desktop just so I could go to them.
Wow.
But I did save 3 of them specifically so I can go and test them all and go through the entire process of building out a custom set. Like actually try it out because I looked through a couple of them and they just weren't that it wasn't what we were trying to do, like the way that you were customizing dice. But these 3 look like they're going to be the best options, and I'm hoping that I can land on one of them to actually truly make custom dice for us.
Got you.
So yeah, I do appreciate the options, but we did that. So where do I actually have that? Oh, I don't need Discord. Where are those actually? Oh, dice profile. There he is. So I had put a poll into Discord the other day, and it looked like everybody liked personality profile the best for like what to call the little card. Like how are we going to market it, right? Because I thought,
the dices thing.
Yeah, because it's not really like a certificate of authenticity. Like I'm not authenticating the die and what it's made out of and shit, right? Like unless I was making it myself, like I'm not doing that. And so I was trying to play around with that, and what type of certificate name I could come up with. But I had come up with a few. Nothing really felt like it really like rang true. So I asked for everybody's opinion. And yeah, personality profile is the one that went out. I like personality profile because I really wanted something that didn't I wanted something that was catchy and would be easy to market, but I also didn't want anything that suggested that was not suggestive of a promise. If I said balancing report or certificate of, like authenticness or author is, like if I said something to where I'm like, this is what it's going to do for you, I feel like that might be less appealing. Whereas it's a personality trait. It's the first 100 rolls. It's, it's the quirkiness. It's like, it's kind of like how some people believe, like, you want to roll out all of the weirdness.
Sure.
If we do that and then give it to you, it's like the personality. Here's what it kind of showed off.
I honestly feel like,
I don't know.
Like just my personal take on dice, I feel like they all have their own personality. I treat them like there's this weird anime that I just started watching where like all inanimate objects have souls and you can like bring out the soul in them and they can be this like powerful. I feel like each dice has its own attitude and like personality, and so like there'll be some times where I'll pre-roll my dice just to see how they're feeling that day,
right?
And I'll be like, no, you're cranky, you're not having a good day. I'm gonna put you to the side, I'm gonna let you rest for a little bit longer, but you're vibing today, you want to come play, so let's come vibe out. And I totally like that. I think personality really captures what.
And it's a personality profile. It's not a promise. It's not like saying this is what it will do. It's just like, here's a snapshot. We rolled it 100 times. Again, it's a profile of what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
What it does for you, effects may vary kind of thing. But no, I love the name. So the idea is like it'll be a little card. It'll have like either the basic version of our logo at the very top, or even just our Misfit Gamer Studios. But it'll just be like a little like stamped logo, like a little emblem kind of thing, because it'll look like almost like not like a scroll, but it'll kind of be like illuminated like that. It'll have like illumination and be kind of like nice looking.
Why do I feel like it would be cool if there were like certain achievements the dice could get? So like in the first 100 rolls, it never rolled a 3.
We'll get into what we're actually calculating first, because that's kind of I went through a lot of iterations of this, and I don't want anything that stood out as expectation. I didn't want to give expectation, but
that's fair.
So how I wrote these was similar to that, but like I even worked with ideas of like how many, like longish, like streak of like consecutive numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then I'm like, no, that just gets way too complicated, because the idea is I'm going to do this either live on TikTok, or I'll just be doing videos, cut the videos into shorts, and those will be attached to. Like I do like the idea of having like a repository of every dice I sell has a video, and on the back will actually be like the YouTube
like a little link to
link
the little video, so you can like watch it get rolled or whatever.
Exactly. Everyone will have its own authentic video, and that's kind of the idea, right? Eventually, it'll be a TikTok live, but that'll be transitioned also into a YouTube video, and et cetera, et cetera. So, again, it was like, how easy is and how quick is it going to be? Because I'm going to just be kind of roll number, and slight narration, like, man, this guy's he's cranky. Oh my god, we have it. Like I'll say like, oh my god, we're on a streak, but there's only so many things I wanted to actually show off. So I have our logo at the top. I'll have a small spot where I can write in a brief description of the dice, like blue speckles with white letters, or, like milky, multicolored, blue, red, or, translucent purple with black letters. Just small little description of the die. And then the personality profile will be 2 different columns. And then I'll handwrite in the actual results, so it'll look kind of fancy.
Okay.
But here are the things that we'll be calculating. They'll be in 2 columns. So as I read these, I'm going to read, first item on column, and then the next item on the next column, then down left. So I'll be reading left to right.
Got you.
So so we'll go first 2, and we'll do them in pairs. So the first 2 that I'll write in, the first and the last number rolled. Because remember, this is always going to be out of 100 rolls.
Sure.
So the first 100 rolls, the first and the last number rolled.
Easy squeezy, love it.
Just doesn't promise anything. It's just a good,
just what it was.
Hard, nice fact, just to kind of give you an idea. The next 2, the sum and the average. Now these aren't necessarily the final names, but these are the thing. But I kind of like to maybe consider calling this like their power score.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's like the sum of all of the numbers rolled is the sum. So it's like their power score. And then, or like the average is their power score, and the max is like their, I don't want to call it like HP, but you could make it into something cool. Like, you can
give it a like stat block.
Exactly. Like it's buffness and its power score.
Yeah.
So, but basically sum and average.
Sure.
I think that's just totally worth it. Because, it can be, if you technically rolled 20, 100 times, or 100 times, that's your spread. So
yeah,
I kind of like the idea of having that. And then the next 2, number of 20s rolled versus number of 1s rolled.
Love that.
I think that's number one, and that's why I kind of wanted that right in the middle. I feel like that's going to be everyone's like prime thing of how many 20s did it get in the first 100, right? And I think that's going to be like the huge shift. I might even put like a column in the middle that like gives it like a weird, like, again, I don't want to promise anything, so I don't necessarily want to say like it's a good die, bad die, but there's a lot that you can, you know, affir on that, like high roller, low roller. And then the next two are going to be favorite number and hated number. So the favorite number is the one that was most rolled, period. Hated is the least, or the least rolled. Then the next two, sticky number and forbidden number.
Okay.
So favorite number is out of all 100 rolls, which number was rolled the most.
Sure.
So let's say that's 17.
Okay.
Sticky number is which one got rolled the most consecutive. So let's say that's number 6. So even though 17 got rolled, let's say 11 times, 6 got rolled 8 times in a row.
Got you.
So it was the stickiest number.
So weird question. If you had a 3 that was rolled 5 times in a row once, but an 11 that was rolled 4 times in a row, but then another time 5 times in a row, then another time 3 times in a row, then another, like you had a whole bunch of different ones that where
it could be, it might be both. You might say there's 2 sticky numbers, or in the moment you might just narrate it as, nope, that's the new sticky number, because every time it comes to it, it doesn't get off of it.
Yeah.
So even though the other one
literally
stuck
sticks to
longest,
it. Yeah.
this one, every time it comes up, it's more sticky. And then there's the forbidden number. And this is only in the case. So this one may be the one that never actually gets filled in, but it could. And this one is if a number was never rolled.
Got you.
So in the 100 rolls, if 7 and 11 never got rolled, it would go in the forbidden number. I would write 7 and 11 in the forbidden numbers column.
Got you.
So it has its favorite number that rolls the most, its hated number, which is usually the one that rolled the least. But if it rolled no number, or if it rolled any of the numbers none, it would be a forbidden number.
I can't wait until there's like random codes in here, like literally 7-11 or 9-11 or like random other, like, you know.
And then at the very end, I'm debating on whether or not I should name the dice or let the buyer do that, because like we could try to generate a name, but at the same time, think about how many names I'd have. Like,
so I've seen these generators that,
and I don't want to do that though. You know,
not like what I mean is I've seen these things where, and I kind of like the idea of like it's almost like a category, so it's not a name necessarily, but like, oh, this is like a DM dice, or this is like a heavy hitter dice, or this is like a,
and again, that's where it's like I'm just hesitant because again,
promisey.
And that's the thing is, I know that doesn't actually matter. I know it's all in jest, and no one's actually gonna like come after us and be like, "You promised, a high rolling dice." But it's just more of, that's just kind of the vibe I want. Is just more of I want the vibe that this is just a snapshot of what happened.
Yeah,
and that's what you're buying. You're not buying it because most of them should look cool, but I don't want this. I don't want to be just another dice salesman, because you see on TikTok, there's so many people just, look at the new dice I bought. Buy them from me. I'm like, wait, so you bought those for $5 and want me to buy them for 12?
Sure.
Just because you showed them off. That's what I don't want. But if you buy the dice that you can look at a video and watch it get rolled 100 times, and then you have this, but then you also maybe have a link to like a spreadsheet that like, if I could just provide all that to you for the extra upcharge, I think that would be more valuable. Intrinsically, it feels more valuable as a player to feel like you actually know this dice already, instead of just buying it because it looks pretty.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like getting a tattoo that looks really cool versus getting a tattoo that has some meaning. You're already more attached to it, even though you just got it.
Yep.
And that's what 100%. I want this experience to be. Is I want you to be able to come on and like, if I'm live, just be like, "What are you rolling for?" Then you click on the the shop app, and then you see all these cool dice. But then you see they have these profiles, and then you're like, "That does look cool," but you're like, "I don't know which 2 of these dice I want." And you're like, "But that one rolled like 19 20s. That one only rolled 2." Like, that could just be, you know what I mean? Like, how often have you been trying to decide what to buy, and that could have been it? Just knowing that one did something, you're just like, that's the one I want.
So another question. I think we briefly talked about it last time, but and I wouldn't imagine that you do this with all in the collection, but would you send this dice with a collection? Would it be just a 20?
Perfect. So it would start out as just D20s. And we've talked about this off stream, and I think the decision I've come down to is that, yes, I will sell sets, but the profile will only be of the D20.
Yes.
So it will start out with
Yes.
individual D20s, but eventually, yes, you might be able to buy the D20, D4, D6, percentile, D10, the whole kit and caboodle, but the profile will only come for the D20 itself.
It'll be like,
and I feel that that's
yes,
makes perfect sense. It lowers down our manual the manual aspect. It lowers down any of the actual production value, but it maintains the core aspect, because I don't know very many gamers that are into dice that don't, in a set, respect the D20 as like the leader of the dice.
Very much so. Very
and
much
so
so.
having the personality of that, I feel like everybody would be okay saying that's the personality.
And
of this set.
I'm also fine with having it be available to just buy singular dice, because there's plenty of times where I want more D20s than I do of all the other dice. Like,
Exactly.
Like rolling
Or-
advantage, like all that other stuff.
And while I
whatever the case may
love
be.
sets, I love the idea of having different dice for different NPCs and shit. Let's face it, 90% of the time, every NPC doesn't need their entire own set.
Sure.
Big, important ones or prior PCs that are now NPCs,
Sure.
I get them having their own set. But more often than not, you should just have a D20. And so imagine that. Imagine you're looking for a new dice, a new D20 for an NPC, and then you come to our website and here it is, snapshots, and you're like, that's the color scheme. And that's exactly what I want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can just be like, that's exactly what she feels like. She feels like it never rolls a 1. Like, imagine you get one and you're just like, your forbidden number's a 1. This I feel like that's going to be so much more enticing than just pretty colors.
This might be a very down the road idea, like after we have enough like traction and movement to actually warrant it. But like, imagine you have a dice, and again, these are custom dice, so that they were designed a specific way. And be like, hey, here's what the D20 is. I rolled the D20. Here's what it looks like. I really like that dice. Can you make me a D4 and a D8? Because those are the only attacks that I need for that particular NPC. And so you can get exactly what you need for that NPC. I need the D20 to roll.
And that may be harder, because that really would require us to always buy sets matching the D20s, because like,
so you couldn't do it after the fact. I couldn't be like, hey, I created this. Can you then go back to them and be like, hey, make me a
There's
D4?
no guarantee, because just like any dice shop, if you go back, if that one's no longer in production, or if, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's just like if we wanted the same dice. If you bought a D20,
sure.
What's the likelihood you'll find the set again if you don't immediately go back?
Which is why I'm curious, like if we're talking about like custom dice that I can like, if it's just the color, if it's the whatever the little thing you put inside of it, whether they're skulls or duckies or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
like
where it's like,
if they just make different things available at different times.
Well, and that's why if it gets super big, then we can do custom runs where here's the D20, and then we could say you can order more, because if we're custom making them like on the websites, then yeah, we could probably say you can order any version of the set, right? Any combination of the set along with the authorized D20. But like, if I were just going to go to like Chessex and buy like a massive, assorted D20s to like, that's probably like, let's face it, that's probably what I'll end up doing to start out with, is get like maybe a bucket of 100 D20s from like Chessex, then go to a local game shop, buy like a dozen or so really nice ones. So it's like, I'll have, the nice ones, only one of those would basically pay for everything. And then I'll have the bucket that's just like actual content, because I at least got to show that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So that's, especially until TikTok lets me go live, I got to at least have a shop, and that'll be part
of
the
What do you need for that?
Well, it's weird, because they say you need 1,000 followers, but you don't. It's very wonky. There's sometimes you just have it, like sometimes it just lets you have it. Like I already have it, and I don't have 1,000 followers yet. We're almost there. So close. Like 34. We're at 30. We're 34 away from 1,000. I'm gonna do another post tomorrow to try to push it. 34 away from 1,000 followers on TikTok. But I'm able to go live, even though I'm not. So there's other things that you can do, but that's where I think once I get it set up and ready to go, like once we have once OSR is done and we have part of the website ready for OSR, the next part of it will probably be the dice shop. Once the dice shop's open, I can get the TikTok running, because once the TikTok account's up and running, I need a shop first. So if I get the website started with OSR, I'll make another part of the website just for the dice shop. Then I can launch the TikTok account, so I can actually start selling off the TikTok account. Because
so is this like a fully different channel that we would have?
Yes, it won't. Yeah, it will not be our shorts channel. This will be a new channel, but it will be Misfit Gamer Studios authorized.
Yeah.
It won't be the Misfit Gamer Studios account. It'll be probably like, like MGS dice profile or something. Like
Sure.
I haven't decided what name it will be, but it will be a derivative of Misfit Gamer Studios. It'll go to our website, but we'll have like a merch page, but then we'll have the dice shop. That dice shop will be a different section of the website than our standard merch. And the dice shop will be for the
directly
profile.
link that to the TikTok shop. So
yeah, like anytime you're going, through TikTok and you see like someone trying to, say like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and there's like, the little button for it, you can just link them, like say, hey, you can, like, we'll probably start out with link in bio, but I might be able to turn it into an actual shop, which I can link directly to the website, and it can show some of the products, and then it'll link to it. So
wild.
There is ways to make all of that happen. It's just, that's those decisions that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, where I had to realize that none of this was going to happen until I get just some of them done. So this is all like this, like I needed this done just so I could say that once I'm ready to start the project, I can send this over to an artist once I have the money for it. But I was never going to get to the point to send it to an artist until I had this. Right. So it's kind of those little things where it's like, now that I have this, when I'm ready, that's ready to be sent.
Cool.
So just
all right, legitness.
Trying to run business. Anyway,
all the fucking things.
Anyway, we're an hour in. I think it's time to get to this review. That was most of the updates. This Friday, we will also be... Oh, yeah, Friday is the 1st. So Friday, we will also be relaunching
our
community streams.
Yes.
So starting Friday, we'll be able to put in for community streams again.
Community streams. More stuff for you to spend your points on. Although, thank you, Hecate, for our first bio unlock. That was phenomenal. Very excited for that.
Down there.
Check it out.
And I'm thinking about redoing this whole thing, too. It's like there's a lot of dead space here. Just there's a lot of dead space going on everywhere.
Yes, right now, yes, but like we also have that space for, chats for the middle, the down there's for any images we need to put up. But no, I feel you.
But I mean, again, once we have like a website, we can even have like a banner like way down there in the center, like where chat normally starts.
Oh, okay.
But we can just have like an ongoing like rotating banner for like the different parts of the website, different episodes. So there's ways I know that we can make this all pretty. Cool. But I still think it's, miles from when we started.
Yes. Oh, by far.
But yeah, we can get to this review because I think that was pretty much it. It's just we'll have more updates of OSR. So this Friday will be an OSR stream, giving you updates on where we're at with that. And again, hoping to actually launch at bare minimum the beta testing by the end of August, if not an actual, alpha testing at bare minimum. If we're lucky, we'll be able to beta test the actual interface. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Without the interface, it's an alpha.
Right.
But beta will be considered when we have that. And I will consider it full launch when we can actually just like
pop up and play it on stream.
Yeah, just without issue, just actually I would say it's fully on launch when like it's not going to be like sub only, because like the testing will probably be sub only. Mm-hmm. Like just with the people that we really know and can trust to just help us.
Yeah.
But we'll know it's like full launch and out of beta when we can go live and just say anybody who wants to play, join the queue. Like when we can say chat can join the queue, that will be launched. That'll be the official. We're good with it. So yeah, hopefully that all starts, and then after that, it's just going to be a snowball effect of just trying to get as many of those things just done.
Yep.
All right. So moving on. Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'm at with videos anymore. And I think it's just because I'm also like, again, so many different projects. I think that I need to just not bother worrying about, just not bother with the edited content right now, because I don't know. It's just
I feel it. I 100% feel it.
It's just too much. I've just packed so much on my plate. It's just I got to respect that and do the things that I know that I'm good at and that I can do well. So
exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, for that, let's get into this review. It's been over an hour, and Soul deserves us to check out this cephalopod. Sui Generis.
Don't remember where I got it from. I'm trying to check the original thing, but for some reason in the in the schedule, and I have it written as an aberration creature.
Aberration.
So let me.
I mean, that makes sense though, because if
sure.
you think about it, I mean, if you think of aberration as like Cthulhu, a lot of, I could see how that
Right?
crossover could happen. Are you saying you're just trying to figure out where that terminology came from?
is in there? I think I just missed it.
Hmm.
Is in there. So it's like aberration is the creature type, and cephalopod is like a subtype.
Gotcha. Because
Right.
so it's an aberration.
Like humanoid would be.
Right. So aberration,
So-
but squid-like.
Yes. So
Gotcha.
I will
A
have a couple
squid-like
of updates,
aberration, if you will.
myself to the original submission, but yes, it is an aberration as well as a cephalopod. So
All right. Well, let's find out exactly what Soul has in store for us with this cephalopod aberration. What remind me, what exactly constitutes an aberration? Like, what do we mean? What is D&D 5th edition's definition of aberration?
So, to the best of my knowledge, aberration is something that's not necessarily associated with any divine or demonic entity. It's almost like something from the void, something from potentially like the Shadowfell, something that's usually dark but not necessarily evil.
Okay.
And so it's just kind of this like scary, creepy, almost like haunted type figure, but not necessarily like undead or anything, because that's got its own categorization.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps at all.
No, it does. It does. It's okay. Okay. Just trying to understand. And this is based off of Vilgax from Ben 10. So for anybody who knows what that means.
Is it? I did not know that. You said Vilgax?
Yeah.
All
right. So the Sui Generis, starting with the description. The Sui Generis are an ancient, almost mythical species, said to have been forged in the darkest void between the stars. Legends speak of their unmatched physical prowess, tactical genius, and relentless hunger for conquest. What truly makes them feared, however, is their adaptive evolution. Each member of their species enhances their physical and psionic abilities through planar magic, making them living weapons of destruction. You know, I love it when I hear about psionics.
Yup.
In ancient times, entire worlds fell under Sui Generis domination. It was their physical might alone that made them terrifying, but their ability to absorb, replicate, and improve upon the powers of other races. Wizards who faced them found their spells turned against them, and kingdoms crumbled beneath their coordinated invasions. The gods themselves intervened, banishing the Sui Generis beyond the multiverse to prevent the collapse of the planar balance. Yet now, Sui Generis, the last and strongest of its kind, has returned.
So this is like an entire people, but
But also
almost gone
like
extinct.
someone taking the name of his people as in I'm the last.
So this is now my name, like I am the Time Lord type deal.
So similar to Kenshin, how Kenshin took on like, that name of kind of like saying that I'm the last samurai. Because his name, because Kenshin had the name of like
the Batosai is his name before, but that was his like manslayer days. Like
right, but I thought Kenshin was part of because Yoroni Kenshin is like wandering samurai, but his actual name is Himura Kenshin.
I thought that was just like his family name. If Kenshin is supposed to,
I could have sworn that Kenshin was part
there's-
of the definition, and I thought that's why.
no, in the show, I know that samurai is a dying art, but he's definitely not the last samurai because he doesn't.
But I just mean like a representative, like taking on the name of like that which you represent.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
Because I feel like that is I don't want to say trope, but that is a valid narrative.
Yes, I have seen that done before
to represent oneself. So I like that. I like
very
that.
much so.
Okay. Interesting. So this is going to be something that's a little bit unique. Obviously, I mean it's going to be from a Ben 10 crossover, and going to be a little bit more specific to that. But that's very interesting. I do like the introduction of that lore. I am going to be interested to see how you implement the concept and the lore behind absorbing, replicating, and improving powers, because I have a similar race that I work with. It's more of a narrative, like NPC type race for the moment. But it's based off the Doctor Who, the hot Doctor Who species. It was called the
hot Doctor Who species.
yeah, Doctor Who had a one episode when it was the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, and they were wow. The name completely escapes me. Anyway, the regardless of the name, I would be able to look it up later, but their whole gig was that they were a conquering race, and they would, whatever race they conquered, whatever planet they conquered, they would take the best trait of the race and adapt it.
Yeah. That sounds very familiar. Was that not the robot ones?
No, they were bat-like creatures that currently they were in their bat-like form, but at one point they were humanoid. At other points they had super long necks. Gallifrey is his home planet. I have it here somewhere in one of my things.
Yeah, Gallifrey's definitely, he's a Gallifreyan.
Yeah, no, I have it in one of my bookmarks. What is it?
Wild.
I don't know why I always forget this name. It was the episode with Sarah Jane Smith at the school. Krillitanes. There we go. God, I don't know why I always forget that name. So the Krillitanes.
Krillitanes.
Yes.
Okay.
One of my favorite races from Doctor Who, which is why I want to actually represent that in High Point.
Okay, that's it.
So yeah, I'm really curious how Soul does that on this one, because I've thought about that for a long time on how to represent that in a playable way and not just in a narrative way. Because it's easy to do it narratively. You just interact with them at different time scales, or just at different times you act with different versions, and you get different versions of them, right? But making them playable and how you would narrate how you can do that, because it's not really something that they do on an individual scale, right? Like the individual doesn't just suddenly change. It's more of like they conquer, they, overtake, and then as they reproduce, they can change.
It almost
their
like
form.
evolve slowly.
Exactly. So it's very difficult to have that as someone that can. It's more like you would pre-choose a bunch of things from a list instead of getting to evolve as you play. It's
Right.
more of you choose a lineage, and then as you level up, you get to choose like almost which aspects from that lineage. So you could say, I want this lineage, and here are the branches that as you level up, you'll go down. But doing that in a D&D way that feels good.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean.
It's not as easy as, like, say, recreating the bending classes, right?
Yeah.
So imagine doing that, but imagine if what we did was say, okay, so you're going to be an earthbender. Now let's make a dirt, mud, stone, metal bender. Now you want to do a firebender. Let's do a flame, lava, plasma, light bend.
Yeah.
That would be kind of like, so every time you leveled up, you'd have to go down a different path. And then when you went that, so it's a cool
Skill
idea,
trees.
but it's so difficult to do in D&D. So, but yeah, we'll see what Soul has. Let's move on. So we have Gargantuan.
Yes.
Gargantuan cephalopods.
White Sizely.
Wow. Okay. Definitely not playable.
Definitely not playable.
They have an armor class of 24 with natural armor. Hit points are 555. That is a 30d12 plus 300. We have a speed of 50, a climb of 50, a fly of 60 with hover, and a swim of 60. I get
they can do all the freaking things.
I get it, because you think about all of the arms and everything. I still think I would. I don't know. I think in this particular build, I still think I would drop the ground and climb speed to 30, because if you imagine something coming out of the water that you know is meant for the water, like imagine an octopus getting out of the water.
Sure.
And then being just up on its tentacles, being as fast as you.
Sure.
That would seem fast as absolute fuck. Now, I know that this thing is huge, but you shouldn't be able to outrun it. But that thing would still seem fast as fuck if it was at your pace. But imagining that it's only 10 feet difference swimming versus walking, I don't buy it.
So I'm actually curious. Does this thing have wings, or is it flight? Is flight more telekinetic?
I think it's more of just a hover, like it
like Superman flying.
Yeah, it is psionic, so I think it just does
Sure.
DBZ, Superman, like how beholders fall, like hover. I think that's the idea. Is it doesn't need to, but and even that's a fast fly speed, and its fly speed being equal to its swim speed. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would be better if the land and climb speed were 30, because that would still be extremely fast. Fly speed, I would, or even climb and land speed of 40. Fly speed should be maybe 30 or less, and then swim speed of 60. Those feel, I think, a little bit more balanced with just so far what we're seeing here. This just seems almost a little bit too. I can overcome all obstacles.
Yeah,
little bit too versatile.
Gargantuan is above huge, and it's a 4x4 instead of a 3x3. And for me, like, so each one of the squares is theoretically 5 feet. So this thing is 20 feet across, so to speak, of the space in which it occupies. In order for it to be able to move 50 feet,
maybe 1.5 its body lengths.
1.5 its body length. Then when you think about a humanoid moving 1.5 their body length, you can do way more than that.
It seems relatively fast, but that's why I feel like if we're gonna give it if swim speed should be its max speed, right? It should you would assume that its swim speed should be its absolute fastest. Ideal. So that's what I'm going off of. I do not think that a 10 feet difference feels
I agree
enough. So if you even drop that to 40, I still think fly needs to be the lowest.
Sure.
So if you did 30,
lowest?
Because I mean, realistically, it has no self-propulsion, and usually with hover, it's more of a lofty glide.
When I see hover like this, especially because it's a fly speed with
I know it means they can hover. It's not just consistent movement, but it's psionic. I'm just thinking of when I think of something just doing moving that kind of fly, especially without powered flight. I always think it should be the lowest.
See, that's what I'm curious about. That to me would indicate to me it is powered flight. That's what I was kind of,
and that's why with the cephalophod I just don't see it. Because imagine the things from the Matrix, remember the squiddies?
Oh yeah, the Sentinel things.
That's what I kind of imagine. Those don't really have power; they kind of just hover.
Sure.
So that's what I mean by I think that it should be the slowest. Because if they were on the ground, those things would just bolt.
Yeah,
I don't think that those things on the ground would be slower than those things in the air.
What happened was I googled real quick what the Ben 10 creature looked like,
and I don't have that. I do not have that reference. Let me catch up.
Imagine what's his name from Pirates of the Caribbean with the squid beard.
Yeah, exactly. Davy Jones.
Yes,
exactly, and that's kind of what I anticipated with that concept. Gargantuan size is D20 hit die, not D12. D12 is huge. Okay, so this actually would have had a bigger amount of hit points.
Ooh, that's coming from
Pokeniner is saying that. So
yes, so when I was building this, there's a website that I love to use specifically when creating creatures that automatically fills in a lot of this stuff. Now, if ever the submission differs from what would automatically be generated, I always put what the submitter used in the first place.
Okay. So I will say also, I'm also not seeing, based on the character the character that we're basing it off of, I'm also not seeing powered flight based off of these images of what Vilgax looks like.
Yes, I've never seen him in action in Ben 10. I've only seen some of Ben 10, so I don't know if he's got Superman type or whatever type flight, but yeah, I would not look at that character and be like, oh yeah, you can fly.
Yeah, so I don't mind the flight. It's just, if you're going to have flight, it should be the slowest. Because, again, if you are a water-based creature, it's either going to be water flight and lands the lowest, or it's going to be like one of them should be the lowest leg.
I totally agree.
And in this, it's saying that land is the lowest, but only by 10 feet. I'm just not even with lower, it doesn't feel right. So what I would do, and I'm curious how you would do it, but personally with me, I would do fly of 30, climb and walk of 40, swim of 60, and then it would feel justified. I personally, for high point, would probably even go lower than that. But again, I don't know the power dynamics. So I'm just saying for this particular build, that's how much I would drop those by.
If you are a bipedal creature and you just have cephalopod protrusions, limbs, whatever you want to call it, and you are this size, I would be okay with like 40 feet for your speed and your climbing. Swim, I agree, should be the fastest. As for flight, again, the way I look at it is size is almost irrelevant to me when it comes to powered flight like this. Like if you had wings, if you were like a dragon or something like that, like, okay, boom, you got like wings. That plays a factor. Like the size of your wings, how big you are, all that stuff's gonna play a factor. But powered flight, it's literally just the strength of your mental capacity in order to get you from point A to point B. And
it's either magic or psionics. It's some sort of just general. It's non-manual propulsion.
Yes,
and that's where I like to draw the difference of non-magical, non-manual propulsion. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, when you're hovering, yeah, you can push yourself off something, but if you're not gonna, you can only go so fast. So yeah, I don't know. What would you think flight should be though? What would feel comfortable to you?
I mean, I would probably tier it down like 60, 50, 40, swim 60, flight 50, speed 40. Like I would bring it down that way. Because I don't mind flight being closer to swimming, but I would definitely say your top and your bottom should have a much bigger gap. I wouldn't mind it being 35 or 30 for your walking and climbing speed. I do think both of those should be the same, especially because they're very land-based.
Yeah.
That's what I would consider outside of the intended wheelhouse.
I think I have a way to make actually this be okay. I think like without having to change much, because Pokemon is actually giving me a really good idea. Because I do feel what Pokemon is saying, and I think we're both kind of leaning that way, is it just feels like you're trying, it's not feel like you're trying to do too much. It feels like it just does too much. It feels like it's a little bit of a unfun. There's not going to be any way that you're going to get a advantage. But there is a way to benefit from that for both the players and the DM and not have to actually reduce anything here. If this was intended, and unfortunately it won't be because with the, Ben 10 kind of setting, this is only just one of many, right? But if this was one of those bosses that a DM decided to use, and it was not necessarily the primary BBEG of the whole campaign, but you know how like they'll do the trope where you're going after the BBEG, but you find one of his captains like along the way, and you have to like encounter the captain like 2 or 3 times before you can defeat him, and then you get like the information to go find the big bad.
Right.
This is where this would be perfect. These stats would be fine if, and only if, the DM intended for you to run into this NPC 3 times. Once by land, once by air, once by sea.
Interesting.
And if you fought him those 3 times with a good, pleasing narrative reason why you don't defeat him, that could justify why he's so good. Because Pokéniner said it. This does feel like a classic version of trying to capture everything by this type of NPC. I don't know anything about Vilgax, but this idea that he takes the best aspects, it makes sense that he's going to take the best flight, the best climb, right? But in D&D, yes, this is a good one-to-one, but it just doesn't feel good unless you spread it out. If this was all one fight where he was just allowed to basically not have any disadvantages, it would be kind of unfun. But if you spread out these, if you intentionally made it to where he was only using land, water, or flight, and not all 3 at once, it would make each of those encounters feel still justifiably challenging.
Right.
Instead of it feeling all at once like there's no way that he can be, disadvantaged. If you fight him underwater, it won't matter that he can fly or walk. So you won't care that he can't be disadvantaged because you're in the water, right? If you are fighting him on the cliffside and he's flying, it doesn't matter if he has a swim speed.
Right.
If you're only going to fight him in the middle of a playing field and he doesn't ever fly, or you're fighting him indoors and he can't fly, it doesn't matter that he can fly.
Yeah.
That's, to me, you don't have to change these speeds if I don't know that he can do all of them all at once. If I see him inside,
If it's only relevant one at a time. Yeah.
And
I totally feel that.
And it feels like fighting a creature like this who wants to be the best at everything. Imagine you could even narratively say the reason why he keeps running away is he's evaluating you to see if you have something worth stealing.
Interesting.
And
I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
Hell, maybe you kind of fight him 3 times, and if you lose each battle, he does take one of your traits that you have to then fight against the next time. So maybe the big time you fight him at the end, you've had chances to either give him or not give him benefits, right?
Right.
That's would be my interpretation of this, is either drop them to make them feel more appeasing, because I do think that Pokénetter's right. This is probably very close to the actual character, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be great. So I wouldn't mind either lowering them and adjusting, doing a high-low system with the fly and the swim, or my suggestion is don't change it, but don't ever let the players really see it all at once, because then it won't feel like it's
add something to the foundation of this, where it's like, hey, for best use in staged fights, where it's like land, air, sea type deal.
That would be mine. So that would be my thing specifically for the speeds, and I know we haven't even gotten anywhere else yet. So I haven't even looked forward yet. But yeah, so that's just my interpretation to make that feel better. But moving on to the stats, I'm already seeing again some concern here. So we have a strength of 30, a dexterity of 20, a constitution of 30, an intelligence of 24, a wisdom of 22, and a charisma of 20. The fact that the lowest is 20 and it's 2 of them, that is very hard to justify even for a high-level campaign.
2 20s and 2 30s.
Like, this is God. This is a God at that point.
Like, we've seen CR 30s that don't even have stats like that. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, so to not be a God or an immortal with 2 30s, I don't understand. Again, I don't have any reference to Ben 10 or this character, so I don't understand the power dynamic. Like, this could be one of those situations where we're used to reviewing Frieza, and suddenly this is a Balrus.
Right.
Like, I don't know if that's the case, right? We don't know if in this setting this is normal for the PCs to come across. It's just, it feels wrong. It feels way overpowered, and even like just with the speed, even though you could narratively say like, yes, he's consuming all of this stuff, it still has to make sense on a mechanical level in D&D, and these stats are just wild. These are just so out there that, I mean, honestly, you could probably cut all of these by 10 and it would be a standard character block. So the spread's fine. Like, if you cut all these to 10, you would be looking at...
By 10?
Yeah, you'd be looking at 20, 10, 20, 14, 12, 10.
I would even be okay dropping them all by 5.
And that's what I'm getting at. That's where I was getting at, is the spread is totally fine. If you were to drop these by 10, that's a normal character. But if we want to make this elevated, you drop by 5, then you're looking at 25, 15, 25, 19, 17, and then 15.
Sure.
I could get behind that. Someone who is strategically going out there and taking the best traits from different races. If you said that he has a 25 strength and a 25 constitution and nothing else over 20, you know how I can narratively justify that? In all of your travels of consuming, you finally consumed an immortal, or you consumed either the avatar of a god, or you consumed a 20th level character. Like, I could justify 2 25s and nothing else over 20. I can't do that with 30s. You know what I mean? It's just, but if you give him 2, especially, if you give him that and then his dexterity is still, 15, you that it's kind of like the speed, right? It can be better than the standard, but this is just almost too much. And I don't know the context of like when we were reviewing Super Foxer.
Yes.
They specifically have a goal to make an extremely difficult, deadly setting, because that was what was asked for.
Yes.
This would fit within with that, right? But without that context, I'm having a hard time justifying why this would make sense.
Right.
So that's where I'm going with that.
Fair enough.
let's see. Aspects of Tiamat 30. Okay, so Tiamat, the god Tiamat, is a 30, 14, 30, 21, 2026.
This is still better than that. It's got a 14. This one doesn't.
Yeah. So the fact that, that this is just, even in a standard D&D setting,
Let
I
me
mean, you're
look up Tiamat and see what the CR is.
I want to say that's going to be, isn't that like a CR like 30 at that point?
I think so.
But yeah. So I'm just saying that it's that's just an aspect of Tiamat as a CR 30. Yeah. Thank you, Pokemon. So my just thing is, I think the perfect solution here is just to drop those by 5, and I feel like the spread's fine. We don't need to adjust, which goes in what order. I just think it's this raw numbers that are too much.
Okay, weirdly enough, the aspect of Tiamat has a higher dexterity than Tiamat.
Which would make sense, because I think the aspect of Tiamat is just its avatar. So it's a chosen representation, but not a 1-to-1.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, both of those are CR 30 for sure.
But yeah, so either way, I would just say I think the solution here is, like, again, speed still doesn't have to change. Definitely want to adjust those, though, make them drop by 5, and I think you have a worthwhile creature and lore. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, but let's go to the next section. So saving throws. We have Strength 17, Dex 12, Constitution 17, Intelligence 14, Wisdom 13, Charisma 12. So hella good saving throws. I mean, that's just going to happen with those kind of stats.
You're just proficient in literally all saving throws, which happens as a monk when you get to a certain level.
That's fair.
So it's not outside, and I'm sure there's other creatures that are also proficient in all as well. So,
skills of athletics, history, insight, intimidation, and perception.
I will say, I incorrectly. So perception is put up as a 20. It should be a 13.
Gotcha.
It should be a 13 instead of a 20 on there. I'm not sure why it went that direction, but because I think as a CR 23, if I'm correct, the proficiency bonus you get is like a 6 or something, and the 6 plus your wisdom bonus, which here is also a 6, should get you 12. So maybe it's a 7. So I'm not sure why perception showed up as a 20, but everything else is correct on there.
Okay. So yeah, one of the things that I like to nitpick about 5th edition is the fact that they still hold on to some, like, what would now be considered outdated mechanics. You know how, like, some things will evolve, but they'll hold on to things. After a while, you start to question, like, why is it even around? Because it's not like, it's like, the thing that I always like to nitpick about 5th edition is how it gives creatures, not NPCs, but creatures, things that you're just purely meant to be in combat with, non-combat things. Like, why the fuck would any, like, in 5th edition specifically, why would any actual combat encounter require the enemy to have history? Like, I know it's kind of just involved in their standard stats, but sometimes you see like things where it's like, those aren't combat related. Even insight is really
pushing it,
kind of ridiculous to say, why are you going to use it in combat?
Like, you can find an excuse for it, and you can find a reason for it, and maybe it's just there for lore purposes, just to say realistically this creature would likely have it.
And that's the thing, like it just, it's like, it's an outdated, because those things used to matter, right? Most things were meant to be role play available. Now a lot of times this is just meant to be, combat rolled. But you add things like this, like it's gonna come up.
And I will say, with any creature that has intelligence and the ability to speak, there becomes the opportunity for, dialogue, interaction, negotiation, whatever. So if players somehow find a way to get down that path, like, maybe it could become relevant. But I definitely see what you're talking about. Like, I feel like the majority of the skills you should have, like you said, for purely combat-based creatures should be focused on what that creature would realistically be doing.
And it's mainly just because, again, it's the way that 5th edition is designed. It's like they still add it, but it's like it's almost like they add it just out of posterity than necessity. I honestly wouldn't even mind if they just split things into combat and non-combat. Like if they just had a non-combat section where it's like, here's things it can do if it's not in combat. It can lie. It can't lie. It can deceive. Like you could actually build it out to where, why not just have a smaller section instead of it being all of this?
Right.
You could give me a reason why it has history. Like, you know, just like you could.
Interesting.
I think there could be a better way to do it than this, because this just feels like it's throwing it in there of a, I mean, you're not going to use it, but why? You know, why not?
Sure.
But if you had a whole section where it's like, hey, when this thing isn't in combat, like imagine the animals, like this, you know, like a dire wolf. But imagine when not in combat, it is, it can be like how it used to say, like, it'll be found in this environment and this is the actions it would be taking. You know, it's often hunting, it sleeps here. But imagine like non-combat things would be like, it will hunt familiars. So if it's not in current combat, it may try to attack like a familiar, and that's what could give you indication of how you interact with it. Or, you know, maybe you know, if hungry enough, it will approach campfires looking for scraps. Like I feel like we could redesign them to where it's like, when it's not just for combat, here's a way to use this.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, how does it act? Like Pokemon are saying, how should this thing be used pre-combat? How should it be used post-combat? Like,
right.
There could be just better ways. Like this creature, you know, if it has history, why not say in the non-combat, if defeated and not killed, its history they can answer 3 questions. Or they will answer 3 questions. And it's based on his, like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like that could just be, maybe that needs to be in the ADA or the PHB, the APHB. But you know what I'm saying? Like adding, kind of like what we were talking about, how creatures should have loot, like custom loot that they can drop.
No, I do like that.
Everything should have a out of combat section to kind of give guidance for DMs on how it, you know, again, like the original editions used to do. Give me more about how it interacts with the world, not just how it interacts when it gets pissed off.
Sure.
So that's kind of where I want.
I like that.
All right, but moving on, we have damage resistances. So no damage immunities, but resistance to force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. So the bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks at this level, based on what we've already seen, that's kind of a guarantee.
Sure.
Like that was like, you know, without questioning. So we have force, necrotic, psychic, and radiant. So force, I think you've mentioned this before. It's kind of nice to see because it's very rare.
Yes.
So that's just kind of a, hey, fuck you to the expectation.
Yes.
I don't mind that one. I think, again, it's rare enough that it throws off the expectation. Psychic, it did say in the lore that this thing is a psionicist, or at least it has psionic power. So yes. I'm totally fine with it having a defense, because like in psionics, if you are of that mindset, you should have natural defenses.
Sure.
So far, so good. Now, what's interesting is that we have a very interesting dichotomy here between necrotic and radiant.
And you brought this up in the past about saying like it's weird to be resistant and or immune to both of those, since they seem to be kind of on opposite sides of the spectrum. And I will say the only element that I will put in favor of this is kind of like I mentioned earlier, aberrations specifically are what
they're
I
neither
would consider
good nor evil,
outside of the divine, right? And I feel like both of those are kind of divine type. Like you see a lot of like demons having necrotic damage. You see lots of like angel type stuff having radiant damage.
So it's more of just like, I don't play by your rules, so I'm resistant to.
I'm outside of the divine style magic, so like gods are gonna have a hard time fucking with me.
I mean, yeah. I personally think that it would have made sense to pick one or the other. Still,
sure.
I do see, if your lore was like that, I would like to see that more implemented in the lore.
Right.
Like lean more into the fact that it's because it's an aberration, or because it doesn't really like play by our rules. But I don't know why, but I'm getting like, instead of necrotic, or I don't know, maybe instead of necrotic, because I don't know anything. Pokemon are saying necrotic doesn't make sense for this particular character. I don't know why. Again, I don't know anything about it, but change one of those to poison. For some reason, I can see the idea that you're taking traits. I would imagine one of the first traits that you could possibly take is just especially with that
Resilience.
constitution,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
resilience. So I would say personally, like, you know, like what Kage was mentioning, because it's that dichotomy, change one of them to poison and I'd be happy. Because then it covers a lot of good bases.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Like,
Or acid. Acid would be fine too.
sure. I will say, not that acid is a rare immunity that you'll see, but
It's a rare damage type for players.
exactly. Like, I feel like unless you're specifically carrying around like vials of acid, like there really aren't a whole lot of spells that even use acid damage, to be honest. Like there's some,
Right.
even some cantrips,
And
but
if this thing is trying to survive, it's the last one when it, you know, came into our area, you would think that it needs to be protected. So yeah, I like that. I think acid makes more sense lore wise. And again, kind of like with the force damage, it's not really something that the players are really gonna like, you know, be like, oh my god, they're, you know, how could he be resistant to acid of all things? But it's also one of those like, huh, that is unique. We haven't seen that before. And what if one of them just, again, in that campaign thought that that would be a good idea? Like, hey, nothing's resistant to acid. I'll just be an acid person. You know, I could see a lot of different ways where acid would make more sense than
sure.
both necrotic and radiant. I don't care which one we replace. Necrotic and acid kind of go hand in hand, but I can also see radiant damage, especially if Pokémon's correct and necrotic doesn't fit the description of the main character. So
Sure.
that one I can't judge on, but I definitely think that only one of those needs to be switched, and I wouldn't mind poison or acid replacing them.
Fair enough.
But we do have conditioned immunities. We have charmed, exhausted, frightened, poisoned, and stunned. So there's the poisoned.
Okay.
So that's fine. So even more so, acid makes more sense. If you are immune to poison, I could see you being resistant to some acid. Like, you know, being
Right.
I could just see the leap of logic there. So charmed and frightened, those seem to go hand in hand constantly.
Sure.
Which makes sense. If you're, you know, especially with psionicis and especially with people who just aren't easily emotionally persuaded, I can see why both of those, right? You're not going to be put into fear, but you're also not going to be put into a hypermania over someone. Exhaustion is interesting. I would assume that that has something to do with its ability to absorb and probably just has a lot more stamina.
I would say that probably leading into the constitution as well as whatever traits they've adapted from other creatures.
Stunned, as always, feels like a fuck you. Like that just feels like I kind of like what Pokémon would say. This just feels like it's put in there to make it more difficult. Like,
I agree.
I don't know anything about the character, so again, if that's the case, if there's a reason lore-wise, it would make sense. But I feel like that's just going that one extra step of, by the way, fuck your monk, because that just doesn't happen here.
I will say two reasons why I feel like it kind of makes sense. Number one, the size of the creature. I feel like, imagine like you have this like dinosaur, and I'm gonna come up to it and I'm gonna like punch a little bit. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like they have nerves and all that stuff, but like
the force necessary and okay.
So like, size would be one thing, and then the other thing is like if it's a cephalopod, like maybe its anatomy is a lot different than ours would be, and like the things that would stun a cephalopod would not, or that would stun a humanoid.
The multiple brains. I mean, if you think about it, they're supposed to have multiple brains.
Sure.
Pokemon are already. I mean, also said, do you even need the stun immunity? I mean, with the strong saves, it's kind of like, what's the point of even going the full? Full set?
I'm assuming, and please let us know. But like, this has got to be for like a high/max level party.
Well, it can't be.
Like,
I mean,
you know,
with those
like,
stats, it has to be. We're talking about 15th or higher for sure. Guaranteed.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, so stunned can make sense, but again, it just feels a little overkill.
Sure.
Could, again, with the saves, you don't need it, so that's okay. We have senses. So dark vision of 120 feet, that's fine. True sight of 60, totally fine for something that's a little bit like not of this world. And a passive perception of 30. I guess that's on par.
Let me make sure that's correct, because that might have been incorrect with the because perception was the other skill that was adjusted. Passive perception is supposed to be 23, not 30.
Oh, okay. So it's 20.
Yeah,
hitting this thing's already going to be very difficult too, with an AC of 24, even a high level party with this, minimum of a plus 11. Like, you are basically not rolling lower than a 14.
Yeah.
to hit this, which is already difficult enough for most people. All right, so I don't mind the senses. I think the senses are the one thing that truly do make perfect sense. Languages, we have common, deep speech, infernal, and it has telepathy up to 120 feet.
Deep speech and infernal, I would say, are fairly common in aberrations.
Okay.
Telepathy would be common for psionists or whatever.
Honestly, for something like this, I wouldn't even mind scrapping this and just say it has telepathy up to 120 feet and understands any language of the person it's speaking to. So like it doesn't know these languages, but once it goes, hey, we're talking, you two can converse.
Yes.
Once it drops, it's not like it knows your language.
Yeah.
Basically, I would prefer writing this in as it's during its telepathy. It can converse in any language the speaker knows, but that it doesn't know those.
I
languages.
really need to look up 5th edition and when they say telepathy out to 120 feet, if that's a thing where I can talk to and hear anyone within 120 feet of me in their mind, or what do you mean one way? Like
I don't think you can just sit there and tap into their head unless you're using a spell. But I think telepathy, as in like if you're within 120 feet of me, I can send you a message and you can hear me. But I don't know if I can take information from you if we're not linked in any. I don't know how psionists work, but I don't think it would just because I'm telepathic. I can just read your mind freely.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if I have an ability to do so, I think it gives you the ability up to that distance.
I'd be curious if because imagine, because with what you're talking about, imagine the party is like verbally talking to each other during this combat, and the creature doesn't necessarily understand their languages, but has the ability to telepathically communicate with you, right? If you guys are talking to each other, does it have any idea what you guys are saying? Or are you guys just talking to each other and he's just like, I don't know, shrug emoji?
Yeah. Well, telepathy allows you to, I think, just in general converse with anybody, which is why I just don't think we need any additional languages, because telepathy is just kind of the thing that I think just allows for universal communication.
Yes, but again, say there was Lucifer was in this room and all three of us were having a conversation together. With telepathy, can all three of us have a telepathic conversation together? Or do I have to say I'm talking to you right now, and if you want to interject or know what we're talking about, I have to switch and start talking to you and repeat everything?
I believe in 5th edition, again, limited knowledge, but I believe in 5th edition it is not a open connection. You have to within 20 feet, like you won't open the line with everybody, but you can basically ping everybody as you want, but you can't open the connection.
Almost like the message cantrip where it's like, hey, I'm messaging you, I'm going to say something, you can say something back. Oh, I'm
exactly.
You,
that's how
I say something back.
That's how I've always envisioned 5th edition using it, but I've not done extensive research.
I haven't either, and that's kind of, I mean, I haven't had to deal with it a whole lot, but yeah, same vibes.
Interesting though. We have a challenge rating of 23 only. I expected this to be a lot higher, especially when you're considering the aspect of Tiamat.
Yeah.
This thing is way more like a challenge rating 30.
Yeah.
So that has to be changed. But let's see what it can do. So moving on to the abilities. We have amphibious. The Sui can breathe air and water, so basically it doesn't have to breathe. Well,
sure.
For the purposes, it doesn't have to breathe.
Sure.
Like it still needs to breathe, so it can't go into like a vacuum. But I do like that. So can breathe in air and water, which probably makes sense. What is that? The merfolk have that basically, right? Like that should be fine. Let's see. Freedom of movement. The Sui ignore difficult terrain and magical effects can't reduce its speed or cause it to be restrained. It can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non-magical restraints or be grappled.
Or being okay.
Wait. Okay, so there's okay. Gotta unpack a few things here. So let's unpack the first thing. So it ignores all difficult terrain. Kind of makes sense because if it can climb, fly, swim, what is difficult terrain at that point, right? So I totally understand that part. Magical effects can't reduce its speed or cause it to be restrained. So we're just going to pause there.
Okay.
So magical effects. So unless you are holding this thing down
physically,
there's nothing you can do to slow it.
So if I have the spell Entangle, that is a magical spell that would restrain somebody. That would just flat out not
work. Which is interesting. It's a spell, but it's also a physical because it grapples you, right?
It wraps. You have to make a save to get out of it.
So what I think is it's more like hold person won't work against it. This is more like hold person.
Okay.
Because and that's why I wanted to make this distinction before we continue, because I think this is like targeting like hold person.
So just so you know, this is a very standard ability that many creatures have.
Oh,
There's
okay.
an ability called freedom of movement.
Okay, so then
Just
maybe
like
there
amphibians.
is more information, because what I hear off that is like I can't cast hold person on you. That would make sense, right?
Mhm.
But the next part is it says it can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non-magical restraints or from being grappled, and that's where I'm like, that spell that you're talking about, Entangle, does cause grapple though. So I don't know if it
doesn't cause grapple. It just says the creature is restrained. If they don't make their
Oh,
save,
okay. It does. Okay, it just says
the-
restraint.
yeah.
Isn't there one of the spells though that you cast and then it actually grapples?
There are spells that like summon a thing that can then go grapple
Right.
stuff.
So that wouldn't be non-magical. That would still be considered physical because it's a physical source from it. That's why I'm just kind of trying to figure this out.
I understand what you're saying, and I would probably agree with you as a DM, but I can definitely see DM saying because it comes from a spell, it counts as magical, which means it won't work.
And I think we would have to rely on the rules as written concept of specific over general. And when it says non-mag or when magical effects, so like you said, that one spell, Entangle, says the spell restrains them. That is a magical restraint. Versus if something says you are grappled, I think we'd have to go to the next part that says it's considered a grapple, so it just spends 5 feet of movement to get out. That would be what I would. I think I would do it is just specifically saying that if it uses the terms like grapple or physically restrained, even if it's from a spell, I think those are the key terms we're looking for: is grapple and physically restrained. And if the spell doesn't mention that, then it's considered magical, and it won't work. I think that's how I would rule.
Okay.
Not that that's actually what 5th edition says, but that's just kind of what I'm getting from this because I didn't realize that this was a standard ability.
So the one thing I would say that this does not cover is something like the Sentinel feat, where it takes your speed and just makes it 0.
Which is not magical.
It's not magical, and there's nothing here for you to escape from.
So that would, I think that would be fine.
That would be the only thing that like fully bypasses. It's like if I don't want you to move, you're not going to move,
and that would absolutely work still on it.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that that's not in here somehow. Saying
interesting.
Yeah, but that's cool.
Interesting.
Good point. Good point.
Cool,
so Sentinel will fuck this thing up. That's the bane of this thing. Yeah. Okay. Freedom of movement's that might be the first time I've ever seen. You said it's a common, but I don't think I've ever seen freedom of movement on a build yet.
I don't know what type of creatures you see it on the most, but I know that it's one of like the standard things, like pack tactics is another standard ability.
Right.
Amphibious is a standard ability. Like a lot of these things, savage attack is a standard ability. So you'll see a lot of these things like repeated in different, like flyby. That's another one that's
right.
Cool.
Okay, we have seen a couple of these. Yeah, I think this might be my first time for freedom of movement.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one is Siege Monster. The Sui deals double damage to objects and structures. That makes sense for its size.
Some Godzilla type action right here.
I definitely think that the lore leans more into the idea that this could really go well with like a pirate themed and as an enemy, because having to be able to destroy the ship that you're on and sink it, very, very sea monster like. I like that. So no notes on that one. True form. The Sui can use its action to polymorph into a crack. There you go.
There you go.
Or back into its true form. Its statistics, other than its size, are the same in each form. Any equipment it's wearing or carrying isn't transformed. It reverts to its true form if it dies. So what is a crack? Yeah, because this thing's already gargantuan. So is it like monstrosity? Is it like, how much bigger can it get if it goes into and all the stats are the same? So it's literally just
what its size is gargantuan.
Yeah,
the Kraken's also gargantuan.
So unless this thing is supposed to be huge, and maybe that was the mistake,
perhaps.
Soul, can you confirm whether or not the Sui is supposed to be gargantuan already? Because if that's the case, then I'm not really sure what the point of turning into a Kraken is. Is it just so you, instead of being humanoid, you're just more tentacle?
Unless I misunderstood, and the only thing that stays the same is the size, and all your other stats are now the stats of a regular Kraken.
Oh,
but I don't think That's not how I read this.
But
I read this the same
you
way
weren't
read
given
this.
the stats of a Kraken, because I'm pretty sure Soul would have given you the stats of a Kraken if that was the case.
Well, I mean, Kraken's a regular monster manual.
But
thing.
usually Soul is pretty good at like providing everything.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So I would be surprised if Soul didn't say, here are those stats. That, you know what I mean? Like I would be surprised Soul wasn't that. So Soul, let us know how that's supposed to work. What did we get wrong? Is it the stats that need to change, or is it the size that changes? And if that's the case, did we get the size wrong initially? Let us know. It is supposed to be natural.
Are you talking about grappling, or are you talking about?
I think the size. I'm assuming that's supposed to be the size. So like it is, like it's supposed to be gargantuan already. So yeah, can you explain what you are trying to do with true form here? Can you give us like the picture of what it actually does when you envision this working, like when
this,
he activates
this transformation happening?
Yeah, and when we get that, we'll be able to understand a little bit more.
And maybe it's like, so imagine like the picture we saw of the Ben 10 creature where it's got 2 arms, 2 legs, and then a tentacle face. Maybe this is way more
just like
full tentacle body,
and that would be fine too,
deal.
as long as we're dealing with that. But yeah, we just want to make sure that like what function is that serving? You know what I mean? Is it dynamic? Because if it's all the same stats, then how does it change what it's doing? So yeah, we'll look into that one once we get a response from Soul. But we also have Savage Attack. So when the Sui scores a critical hit with a melee weapon attack, it can roll one of the weapon's damage dies one additional time and add it to the extra damage. Okay, so basically it gets an extra damage die.
For crits, yeah,
that's fine. I don't mind that at all. Aggressive. As a bonus action, the Sui can move up to its speed towards a hostile creature that it can see. We've seen that one before. That's fine. Rampage. When Sui reduces a creature's 0. Okay. When the Sui reduces a creature to 0 hit points with a melee attack on its turn, the Sui can take a bonus action to move up to half its speed and make a sucker punch attack.
Now, that is what is in the original submission. And I was kind of confused about that because I don't see anywhere else in this submission that mentions a sucker punch attack. So
I would just give it an extra attack period.
And yes, and so maybe if it's a specific attack, just associate it with one of the other attacks that we have. And if you can clarify that, if it was supposed to say something else, because it's possible that he pulled this from another source and just forgot to change sucker punch to something else.
That's fair.
But you know, he has different types of attacks, so knowing which type of attack he's allowed to use, or if it's just any of them.
If sucker punch is one of his abilities, then that's
so he does not have. Yeah. So unless yeah.
And Soul confirmed that. Okay, so when they transform, it's everything but the size that changes.
Okay,
so it turns into a Kraken. All of its stats change. So basically, like it's its own wild shape. The only thing that doesn't change is its size.
Yes,
that's cool. I like that.
That is cool.
I don't mind that at all. Yeah, no changes on that one. And we have innate spellcasting, Psionics. The Sui innate spellcasting ability is intelligence, spell save DC 22 plus 14 to hit with spell attacks. It can innately cast the following spells, requiring no material components. At will, it can detect thoughts, telekinesis, and mage hand. Perfect.
So that's.
I mean, I get why those ones are.
I mean, very much so. Telekinesis is like that's. Imagine having telekinesis as a cantrip as a player.
That's what I mean. Like these make actual sense for those modifications.
And I don't know how you would rule this, but like a mage hand of a gargantuan creature, is that going to be relative to the size of the gargantuan creature, or is it going to be a small, medium humanoid size hand?
I think at least with what it can do, usually like it would up the weight of what it can carry, things of that sort. I still think it would be limited to like no attacks and whatnot.
Do you think a mage hand could pick up a gargantuan sized mage hand could pick up a medium sized creature?
Willing, yes, because again, since that would be considered an attack.
Okay, like if you got grappled or something.
Yeah, or like an elevator kind of situation. I think it would have to be more like willing.
Interesting.
But I would also not mind that in like at will it can have mage hand, but I kind of wouldn't mind. Maybe it would be too much if it had one for every tentacle, but like it could have multiple up.
Oh, multiple mage hands?
Like just like all regular mage hands, but it could have like 4 of them at a time. Because of just how big it is and how like masterful it is. The idea that it's just like every tentacle has like a telekinetic reach.
I will say telekinesis kind of fits the bill for like all the other things you could want to do with Mage Hand.
That's
so
fair.
like if you can't do it with Mage Hand, you can do it with telekinesis. So.
That's fair.
Um,
All right. So 3 times per day, it can hold monster, disintegrate, plane shift, self only, or dominate monster. Interesting.
wild.
Not bad. Not a bad.
Disintegrate's
actual-
crazy.
That one, I mean, that one feels
Disintegrates.
very much more like Beholder-ish, but I mean, hold monster, plane shift, and dominate. I think those make sense for a Psionicist. Disintegrate, not really sure where that's coming from, actually.
Plane shift is, I would say, probably comes with being an aberration and probably not being native to this plane, whatever plane we're on. So
yeah, and I don't know if disintegrates because maybe like in the show he has like a laser or something. Like maybe he has like some kind of weapon. It just doesn't seem to fit with everything else, like lore-wise, but the other ones are fine.
it's really the only one that does damage on this list.
That's
so far.
Yeah, that's fair. So take that for what it is. And then 1 time per day, stop time, and power word kill.
Wild.
Okay.
Actually,
Stop time is
theoretically,
interesting.
Disintegrate is the only one that does damage because Power Word Kill does not do damage. It just
That's fair.
just fucking kills you.
Okay. So interesting. I like to see power word kill in there. It's a unique one. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that like on a standard build.
And
before.
I feel like Power Word Kill kind of goes along with psionics a little bit, you know? Could be like this word like getting into your head and just like turning off your operations or whatever. You know, I could see a world where it makes sense and it works that way.
You know what I'd like to see along with power word kill? Either a feat or another low level spell that essentially would in game give you the mechanical equivalent of seeing their health points. Because power word kill relies on something that is in game unknowable.
Yes.
Like you could see someone's fucked up after a fight,
Sure.
but the bloodied condition only makes sense in a physical fight. If I've done psychic damage to you, if you were suffering from an illness, the fact that you're below a set number of hit points and not, like, again, if you have 100 hit points max versus if you have 1,000 hit points max, being at 100 hit points looks completely fucking different, right?
Yeah.
Like you could look at a peasant or king or an adventurer and you don't know who's technically lower than 100 hit points. So I think Power Word Kill deserves an attachment, whether it's a first level spell, kind of like identify, put on people, or even another spell. There used to be the other spells like Read Aura. There should be somewhere a tack on that for those that wish to use Power Word Kill, because realistically speaking, only the player knows when it's time to use Power Word Kill.
Well, the DM, you mean?
I'm just saying, like, out of game. Only people out of game know when the hit points are there. So realistically, Power Word Kill is one of those doesn't make sense spells because no one ever, like, you can miss, but no one ever.
I feel like there
it.
are some times where it's like you're either playing it safe, where it's like, I know you have to be at least below 100 based upon what I know of you, and so again, it's a guess, but I would say it would be cool to have an ability that just is basically like a green light or a red light. Like, if I cast this spell, it will work on this person.
And that's what I mean. It's just,
you know what I mean?
Just like there would be a great way where it's like a save. Like you have to roll for it. It's not a guarantee, but some way to tell you now's a good time.
See,
and a small availability where it could lie, where you do a roll and it's like, it says it's a good time, and you try it and it's like, he had 101. It didn't work.
So
you know what I mean? Like I would not mind that, like a percentile roll, and it's like if you get between 4, like I don't know,
I would also, along those same lines, I would also love, I don't know if it would be an ability, a class feature, or like a spell or something you could cast as a reaction, but instead of trying to like counterspell Power Word Kill, doing something where it's like, as a reaction, you can increase your hit points above 100 to that spell being cast on you.
Interesting.
Like say if you're close enough to 100 and someone tries to use it on you and it's like, okay, I'm less than 25 points away from 100 and I'm going to give myself 25 hit points.
You know how that would work in High Point is the logic behind that, because you know how everything has to have like the in-game physics.
Sure.
So the way that I would justify, one way that could be justified is what someone would have to do is be smart enough to recognize how that spell works. Like, it essentially, and I kind of sometimes treat magic like, programming.
Sure. Yeah.
So technically, it's one of the only spells that does require a check. Like most others have like, a skill-based check, right? Like you have to overcome something, but that's just more of like a measure of force, in my opinion. The dice rolls are a measure of force. Power word kill, technically, for the spell to go off, has to check, right? Like it gets to you, and it either affects you or it doesn't.
So you don't mean like a check, like a roll. You just mean like
the spell has
checking
to,
of information.
Yeah, like the spell washes over you.
You know
and
another spell that's like that? Sleep.
Yes. So it's like there's something happening where when the spell tries to activate, it needs to know it can, right? Because unlike other spells that have the ability to not go off, power word kill does always work, but it only affects people with 100 points or less. So technically, power word kill always works. But if you have over 100 points, what it does to you is insignificant. Because it doesn't damage you, it doesn't take away HP, but it's almost like it tells your body if you're under 100, you might as well be at 0. It's almost like it tells your body to give up. Kind of like how, almost like you could almost call power word kill broken heart syndrome.
Which is kind of why it makes sense to be psych.
So, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like broken heart syndrome. The idea that like no one's, like the person's not unhealthy, they just stop functioning, and the body just gives up. That's almost like what power word kill does, where if you're over 100 points, your body can't give up. It's like your body gets the instruction to give up, and it's like, what? but
why?
But if it's if it's less than that and it gets told to give up, your body's like, yeah, that's such a good idea. I'm tired. So there's something to that where if you could give yourself the benefit before it, because the problem with power word kill is you never see it used and then fail, right? Like you never see someone try to use it when they know someone's over 100. But that's the problem, is how do you know? Which is why I still like my favorite use of power word kill is it's a hazing ritual for a secretive wizard cult. I still think to this day that's my favorite idea for use of power word kill.
Wild.
Is when you want to join the cult, part of the initiation ritual is that they'll, invite you in. They'll have you stand in a circle. Like in this, they're just like, hey, stand right there. And they'll ask you, weak, are you weak? Like that'll be like part of the final initiation is asking if you're weak, because they cannot abide by the weak. And are you ready to prove that you're not weak? Because you don't know what, you never know what like the next proving stage is. They just always say, are you ready to prove yourself? Here's what you got to do. And so this whole phase would just be saying like, we can't abide by weakness. So are you ready to prove if you're not weak? You're like, of course I am. And then they just, without word, power word kill. And if you're still left standing, you've passed the test. Essentially, if you could have passed all of our other tests, but if you're just a weakling, if you don't even have 100, like they let you come fully rested, fully prepared. You're not like tortured and then you do this. It's more like, come to me at your best, and if this spell takes you out,
you don't deserve to be here.
Yeah, you are just literally not worth my time. And that's the problem with it, right? Is because when do you ever get to see power word kill used and it just doesn't work? But narratively, that makes sense. If you're trying to judge someone on whether or not they can handle it, and if you power word kill them and they die, what was even the point of talking to them? But if it just washes over them, you're like, I know you were at least this powerful, step right through. So that's
I would love it if like the people that are using it, like imagine it was like a glyph that like works once a day and like somebody goes in there or whatever. Like they don't even know what the spell is. They just know if you survive being in this circle, then you're strong enough to be
part of the ritual. Is someone tells you we don't abide by the weak. Are you weak? If you aren't weak, touch the stone. The stone will let us know if you're weak. And the stone's activation is upon touching it, cast power word kill on the toucher. And dude, that would be perfect. That would be
freaking wild.
And then, because you could just narratively say, like, you touch the stone, nothing happens.
Imagine somebody's like tired or something after like a long battle, and they stumble in this room and accidentally touch it, and they just die.
No,
I thought I wasn't weak.
Imagine this: you learn what it is. Players could learn what it is, and then they're like, "Fine, that's cool." They end up getting the battle into this room, and someone says telekinesis, and then throws the rock at someone using telekinesis.
That would be wild.
It's only based on the last person that touched it. So if you or mage hand, you just mage hand that up and then you shove it inside. You take mage hand, you walk it, and then you reverse pickpocket it into someone's pocket, and then you walk away. And then just at some point during the night, they're just like, yep. They just shove their hand in their pocket and they just hit the floor. Man, would that be fascinating. These are better ways to use power word kill. Put it on a glyph, shove it in someone's bag, and then wait for them to reach in. Like, these are more fun ways.
I don't know if you've ever seen that Rick and Morty skit where he's like talking to the president, like, if you touch me, you're gonna die.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
and the Secret Service does.
What was that? It's
what was that? I told you.
What kind? Instant. It's just what happens, bro.
What kind? Instant?
Yeah, you found out.
All right, so I don't mind the spells. The spells are pretty good.
No, yeah, they make a lot of sense to me. I like that.
All right, so moving on to actions. All right, so we have multi-attack. We have 3 melee attacks, one with its Titan Strike, and one with its Dread Tentacle, and one with its Cosmic Disruptor if available. So it has 3 individual attacks it can do.
And it can do one of each per turn.
Yeah, so the Titan Strike is a melee attack, plus 17 to hit with a reach of 15. One target is a D6 plus 10, or 6d10 plus 10 bludgeoning damage. The target makes a DC 25 strength saving throw or is to be knocked prone and stunned until the end of their next turn. So you get hit with this thing and you don't make a DC of 25. You're down and out and basically lose a turn. Yep. So if this thing doesn't swing at you again, so you basically, this thing can stun lock you. Gary, because then if you're on the ground and stunned, it has
you can do this every turn. And
it has advantage. Once you're down, it has advantage on you.
And once you're stunned, you have advantage.
So this thing basically has you stun locked. If the party does not come and save you, you are permanently stun locked. There is no way around it.
Yep.
Dread Tentacle, melee, plus 17 to hit, reach of 20 feet. 6d8 plus 10 necrotic damage. The target is grappled. Escape is a DC 25. A grappled creature is also restrained and takes 21 or 6d6 psychic damage at the start of its turn. The Sui can have up to 4 creatures grappled at once.
I messed this up. So both of those, the Titanic Strike and the Dread Tentacles, instead of plus 10, it is a plus 20. Again.
Oh, you mean for the damage?
For the damage, yes, for the damage.
Gotcha.
So
okay, 66 plus 10 plus 20 and a 68 plus 20.
Yes.
Okay. So far, I mean, they're really interesting so far. I mean, we have a reach of 15 and a reach of 20. Again, it makes sense visually, but it's also just really making this thing.
I mean, like the
hassle.
Yes.
Just a hassle.
To deal with.
4 grapples, stun locking, 15, 20 foot reach. It's just like, and so here's a perfect example of what we were talking about before. We've talked about this a couple times now about examples of how to add deficits to help balancing instead of taking away power.
Sure.
Instead of saying that these are just too powerful, let's nerf them. An easy solution to a lot of these is like Dread Tentacle has a reach of 20. I would put in there that it is ineffective 10 feet or closer.
Oh, you can't use it.
So if someone's 5 feet or 10 feet, you can't use Tentacle on them. But if they're 15 or 20, you can.
So that would mean that there is a particular sweet spot in which they can attack you with they can attack one person with all of their attacks.
But if you're close enough, they'd have to use Titan Strike against you. And then if you go prone, they can't use Tentacle. And so that's what I'm saying, is a way to add a better balancing would be to add a detriment here. Sure. The detriment, in my opinion, so far is if Titan Strike can stun lock me, you shouldn't be able to Titan Strike me at 5 feet and then Tentacle me and then grapple me. You know what I mean? Like the balance here is, I think, Dread Tentacle should have a detriment to where it either can't hit you at 5 feet or at 10 feet. Like one of those two feels great. I think 10 feet feels better because Titan's already 15 feet, right? So you get your 5, 10, and 15. Mm-hmm. Tentacle should be able to do your 15, 20. But your 5, 10 should only be, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's how it feels better balanced to me. And that's what I want to encourage is don't take away this power. Just add something that makes it feel like the power is.
I totally feel that. It will require a little bit more strategy on both the player and the DM's part on like, if I want to blow you up like in 2 seconds, I got to make sure you are within the right area. And now that we know that Sentinel is the perfect thing, anytime you try to move to position somebody in that perfect area, I can smack you and stop you from moving.
And the benefit of Sentinel is usually you have to use Sentinel at reach. Typically you do. So you'll also be at its mercy. So it's like Sentinel is a reach, typically a reach ability. but this is also a reach creature. So like I said, I feel like in order to take away kind of what Pokéniner has been saying, that the unfunness about this battle, I think that would be a great detriment to add. Is
Sure.
give
I agree.
the players something to see and go, wait a second, that's our in. That's the one way that we're going to be able to like really gain the upper hand here. And I think it narratively makes sense, right? When you're dealing with a tentacle, and especially with like Kraken, it's usually what the you know, like the thing is doing out here. It doesn't, you know, usually in most games you attack here and it's not attacking down at you, right? Like, so I kind of feel like the tentacle should have
tentacle's purpose is almost for the reach, you know.
Exactly. And then it gets thicker, it's harder to maneuver when it's super close. So that would be so far what I'm thinking here. And it allows us to completely keep all of the massive stats, like the damage, the reach.
Sure.
I think that would be fine on both of these if we just gave Dread Tentacle that one little detriment.
Okay.
But we have Cosmic Disruptor, which is on a charge of 5 to 6. This is interesting. So it can make 3 attacks, but Cosmic Disruptor is on a recharge. So really it's only doing Dread Tentacle and Titan Strike.
Every time.
Every time.
You get the other one
Exactly. So
now,
keep that in mind.
For Dread Tentacle, it does. I made sure to add in there that it can grapple up to 4 creatures.
Yeah, that was the last thing is up to 4. And that's another reason why I think that having that space that it can't be used is also, again, really important. Because if you can grapple anyone within 20 feet of you, you're basically saying fuck you to all melee.
So if that's the case, would you say that, say I grappled a creature with Dread Tentacle at 20 feet, and then I move closer to that creature, would I still have them grappled? Or do I have to keep them a certain distance away from me in order to keep them grappled?
So I could see an argument for both. I wouldn't mind narratively that you get pushed along with it. Kind of just holds you and drags you, and maybe that's an extra opportunity for an extra save. Like anytime it moves you unwillingly, you can save out. I think that would be fine as a narrative. I don't mind that if it moves up and it's holding your tentacle, the tentacle bends in closest to it.
I also don't mind.
Because it's like a constrictor snake.
Yeah.
It's just, what I don't buy is that the thick ass tentacle here and you're right next to it, the fact that this thing way out here 20 feet away is easily coming in, grappling, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's my problem.
And I would agree that I like the idea of the attack being limited, but the grapple just maintaining. Like,
and that's fine too. I can see a narrative explanation for both, but I think it would be better to just say the grapple can move as close as it wants because it's already grappled.
That way,
I think that just talks about the effective range of the tentacle is 15 and 20 feet, but it doesn't mean that it can't curl up all the way to its body.
That way, if I get you at the 20 feet and I can't hit you with my tentacle, next time it's my turn, I can move a little closer and tentacle punch you.
Yep.
Or Titan Strike you.
Titan Strike. Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So if I grapple you at 20, I can move closer to you and then get you that. So again, more of that benefit. But if I also move and now you're 5 feet, you know, I can't re-grapple you, right? So it's like I got to keep you grappled. Like just, you know, I can't re-grapple you. So if you get out, now you're in. And if
it only lasts till the end of their next turn, so it's gonna end anyway. Is that what it?
No. That's the prone and stunned. But like if I grapple you at 20 and then eventually move you 5 feet and then you get out of the grapple, now you're in my 5 foot range, which means I can't re-grapple you immediately. So that's that. You know, there's layers.
But
to
you
that.
you have the opportunity to break out of any grapple. I got you.
Yeah. I think that would make Dread Tentacles feel a lot better. And so So Cosmic Disruptor, recharge on a 5 or 6. Sui fires a concentrated energy blast from its fists in a 120-foot line that is 10 foot wide. Each creature in that line must make a DC 23 dexterity saving throw, taking 20d8 force damage on a fail, or half as much on a success.
Wild.
So just a laser,
Okay.
Basically just a straight up laser blast.
Laser.
Honestly, that doesn't feel that bad. 20 d8s. I mean
that's hefty.
That's hefty, but that's all, you know. With everything else we've seen, I'm not surprised, and really that doesn't feel like that bad of an ability. So yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it definitely is going to encourage them to not group up, not be in a line, depending upon how it moves and how easily it can line you up.
Like
I'm thinking like
position itself.
myself like in a sparring match. If I'm doing like 2-on-1 sparring, my main goal is to get one person in between the other person so I can only fight one person at a time. So
Actually,
like, how easily would this, because of its movement speed, how easily would it be able to, like, at the very least, get 2 people every single time this thing's available?
there is technically a really nasty combo here, right? So let's say it's a 5-man party. I grapple 4 people in the party. And then I'm looking at the 5th person. Right?
Mm-hmm.
My grapple is 20 feet. Which means on my turn, I can go in my 5-foot position. Here's grapple person 1, grapple person 2, grapple person 3, grapple person 4 at the 5, 10, 15, and 20-foot mark. And there you are, my 5th target.
25
I have
feet.
your 5 people. Yeah, so you're at 25 feet, and I have all of your buddies grappled. I've just pulled you onto a line, and now I spit this cosmic ray, forcing it through all of you. Like, that would be the combo that I would go for, is grapple 5 of them, and basically just because again, you could stagger them technically.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you.
Although
then you would just spit.
It would take you at least 5 turns to set that up.
True. Unless somehow there was some fuckery going on.
Or 4 turns, yeah.
But that is a really nasty way that you could narrate that effect.
And I would say it would be highly unlikely that if you used your cosmic disruptor first and then you did 4 grapples, you're probably going to have your cosmic disruptor back by the time.
Yeah, so
you're going to have 4 chances to get that sucker back.
So there's some chances here of fuckery, but it, again, I like it. I actually do like the ability. Just, it's kind of straight to the point. It's pretty clean, and it feels right. It actually feels right for this build. So no notes there.
Sure.
And then we go down to the last ability, Terror of the Void. This recharges on a 6. Sui lets out a psionic pulse of raw dread. Each creature within 60 feet must make a DC 23 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. A frightened creature takes 5d10 psychic damage at the start of each of its turns. While Sui is within line of sight, a frightened creature can repeat the save at the end of each of its turns. Okay.
So they just basically take nonstop damage while frightened and can see this thing, but every round they can try and save out of it.
Yeah. So they have to try and break line of sight is the best choice you have.
Yeah. Break line of sight. Shh. So I'll put it this way. The way it sounds is breaking line of sight won't end the frightened condition. It'll just stop the damage.
That's the point. That's the point. But you know what sucks? Again, go right back to what I just said.
You're grappled.
4 grapples, terror. And now you can't leave. If I'm grappling,
at least not for the next turn.
Okay. That's kind of dope, though. I don't mind that. I like that it's within 60 feet. I like that it's not super aggressive.
Sure.
I mean,
120
for this is 60 feet's pretty big, but that's, I'm glad it's not 120.
I'll say it's within its movement range of pretty much anybody.
Yeah, so that's fine. All right, so yeah, interesting abilities.
You know what I'm surprised at? This one does not have legendary resistance. Normally, like the past couple of creatures that we've had, they have legendary resistance.
That's
where they
true.
Can, basically, if they fail a saving throw, they can choose to succeed instead at least
This
3
does
times
not
a day.
have that.
It doesn't have that.
Okay.
So, there's a detriment-ish you can say it has that it doesn't have that ability.
To be fair,
but it's
not going to fail any of the saving throws anyway. You know what I mean?
Lets you roll real bad, but yeah.
All right, well, moving on to legendary actions, since it doesn't have any legendary reactions. All right, it only gets 1 action at the end of somebody else's turn, and it regains them at the start of every turn. They get 3 of these. So they get Tentacle Crab. The Sui makes a...
Does that say crab?
Yes.
It should say grab.
Wild. Tentacle Grab. The Sui makes a Dread Tentacle attack. Okay, so basically just gets a free Dread Tentacle attack at the end of someone's turn. Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Psionic Domination costs 2 actions. The Sui targets 1 creature within 30 feet. The target must succeed a DC 23 Intelligence saving throw or be charmed for 1 minute. While charmed, the creature obeys Sui's command.
I will say I wish we had a little bit more information. Like, does that work just like the dominate creature spell?
I think when it says Psionic Domination, I think that's the point. I think it's supposed to be dominate creature.
I don't know why you wouldn't just say you can cast dominate creature for 2 actions in the middle of somebody else's turn.
Okay, so let us know
And maybe
if this was inspired by dominate creature, or if you have a different idea of what psychic domination is meant to be, and do you have examples of what you mean by commands?
yes, because depending on how limited, or because right now, well, the dominate creature can only do 3 times a day. With this, it can do it every single turn.
As long as it has the
Now,
actions, yeah,
how long does this last for?
1 minute, and that means that it has no limit, so it can just basically for a minute it could technically have the entire party charmed in a couple of turns.
And there's nothing that says save ends. Like
There
once they
isn't.
get charmed, like now. I don't know if this is standard between all charmed conditions, but like if you take damage, then you can repeat your save
Yeah.
type deal. But
I would assume that still matters, but yeah. So let us know what you have in mind for the psychic domination, and exactly what the limitations are with that. It sounds, I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence. It sounds kind of up its alley, but it also sounds a little bit. So it is loosely based on dominate creature. Thanks. So yeah, I would say that if it's loosely based on dominate creature, yeah, I would like to see a save out. Like some sort of save ends, because
yeah,
1 minute,
especially for
devastating, and we definitely would want to add either works as dominate creature, or add some verbiage here on what you mean by it obeys commands, because normally you can't have, even in some of the most extreme spells, you can't have someone do anything against their nature, right? So it's very difficult to turn someone against their party, hurt themselves.
So here's what Dominate Monster says. You can specify a simple and general course of action, such as attack that creature, run over there, fetch that object. If the creature completes the order and doesn't receive further direct, it defends itself and preserves itself to the best of its ability.
Okay.
So, I mean, as far as instruction goes, that's simple enough, and that those instructions require no action from the caster of any sort.
But usually those come with like some sort of caveat that it can't go against its own interest, or like self-harm or anything like that. Like you can't, usually it says like you can't, command someone to walk off a cliff.
Yeah.
Is usually the example they say.
Each time the target takes damage, it makes a new wisdom saving throw. You can use your action to take total and precise control of the target until the end of your turn. Creature takes only actions you choose and doesn't do anything you don't allow it to during this time. Yeah, I don't see anything specifically about it. I know there are a lot of other spells that are like that say like you can't do anything against your own traditional nature. But
and if this is based off of like dominate creature, then I would say I would like to see a save out option, like takes damage or whatever. Just that does make sense than just saying, hey, your character's gone for a minute.
Yeah.
Just straight up. Like
at the very least, the same way, same type of escape as the fear. Just let them save out at the end of each of their turns or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even mind allowing it to say, while charmed, the creature obeys Sui's commands. The affected creature may choose to disobey any command at the cost of XD10 psychic damage. If you take this damage, you may make a saving throw to save out.
Okay, so if
he
taking
says
damage to give yourself an opportunity to save out.
If you get the command of drop your weapon, you're like, yeah, I'll fucking just pick it up in a second. But if he says attack your healer, you could be like, dude, I'm the barbarian. I'll tank, I'll tank 50 damage to not attack my healer who's almost dead. I'll tank the 50 damage and maybe I'll save out. I think that would sound better than going off of the traditional, because we want to make this feel a little bit unique.
Sure.
So I would say that, I would say while charmed, they obey the commands. The creature can choose to disobey a command at the cost of like rolled damage. So you will take psychic damage, but you will also then initiate a save out. And if you fail, you're still under the command, but you lose your turn. So you still get to, you fight the command by taking damage, but you may or may not gain back your control.
Gotcha.
I think that kind of sounds a little bit more fun and a little bit more like, again, depending on the choices of action, maybe you start giving them subtle commands, right? Like back up, move over there. So they're like, I don't want to like take damage just because he's telling me to move around, but it's until he tells you to do something, you're like, no, I can't do that. Okay, I'll take the damage now.
I don't know, but I kind of would also like to see some verbiage, because I know I've seen this in some other creatures where it says and I've seen it a lot specifically with the charmed condition for a lot of creatures, but you cannot be affected by this again for the 24
Oh
hours
yeah,
or something like that.
if you save out, you
once
can't
you
have it
finally get
happen.
out, it's not like, oh, this is gonna happen to me like every single freaking turn type deal. It's like, okay, you did it to me. Okay, I'm under your control. I gotta fight to escape, but boom, I'm out. Now, fear can happen to you more often, sure.
Oh yeah,
But this one, I feel like being charmed by this thing, I feel like, yeah, it might be able to happen to you once, but I feel like doing that over and over again, which would make it easier to be a legendary action like this, because I don't feel like it could be overly abused as much. Because like the second you get out, I'm using it on you again. The second you get out, I'm using it on you again type deal. Like that would feel bad.
I totally get that. Also, I just thought of it, kind of a random thought, but a very underutilized usage of the dominate creature, like or the like the spell like suggestion or command, like
Sure.
like there's a lot of times like it's usually used to turn allies against each other, right? That's like 9 times out of 10 it's used to make the enemy or someone attack their own party.
Sure.
You know what I've never actually seen it used for, which is probably like the number one best way to do it?
Like healing your own party, like take over their healer or something.
Yes. Like just this should be 100% used as target the healer and their first command is heal me. Just burn your spells away from your party on me. Like that, I've never seen a DM do, I mean, and it, not just for the players. I've never seen a DM do that where they took over the healer and said, no, just buff me. I know you got a healing spell, buff me. Boom, you just wasted a healing spell and it wasn't on your party. Like that is more clutch than telling the barbarian to go hit the ranger or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's the way that I would have done it is, or make the ranger, like take command of the ranger and be like, your first command is to hide. Your second command, snipe your targets. like snipe your allies, but you're hiding from them. So even they don't know where but there's layers to that. But I think healing yourself with the enemy's healer is such an underutilized idea.
Yeah. I just like the idea of you fucking off their resources. Imagine you somehow got a hold of this guy and used his power word kill on the barbarian with 300 HP, and now he doesn't have it for the rest of the day. Sucks to suck, bro. Yeah. All I needed to do was just dump that. Now, again, you have to know that he has that and stuff like that. So that would also be my other question. Like taking precise control. Yes, you have a telepathic link. Does that telepathic link tell you everything that person can do? Do you now have a full
you don't download
list
everything? Yeah, and that's the problem is usually you just get like surface stuff. So it's like you don't know everything about them automatically.
So, honestly, that I might limit something like this to just that first section. Like there's no precise control that you can take. It's just you can be like, go over there, attack this person,
right?
This
and
thing.
they'll do it the best of their capabilities.
Yeah, it's
not
like
your
back.
understanding. Yeah. I think other things too, because I know that like there's some things that would be a little bit too, like horror, just too abhorrent. Like again, the idea that you shouldn't be able to go too far against your own interests, right? But there could be some funny things too. Like instead of going full send and being like, hey, I want you to, like stab yourself or throw your magical sword into that lake that you'll never get back, or break your bow, like just snap your bow across your knee. Like those would be things that would just be like absolutely devastating to do. But something hilarious that I think would be just like I would do this if I have a bunch of like trickster type NPCs that just like to fuck with people and not necessarily like just cause havoc but not actual chaos or harm. So one funny use of this is instead of just burning like the healer stuff, like it'd be funny to take the wizard and then just be like, hey, cast dancing lights, spurn a first level spell because I don't, just on something innocuous. But then another funny part that you could do is like point at the ranger and be like, I take over your mind. You know what I'm gonna make you do? Unstring your bow. Just in the middle of battle, you're just like, I hate you. And then you're just like sitting there with like, it's not broken, but I have to spend my entire turn restring. Because I've done as I do archery and stringing a bow isn't quick and easy. It would just be so irritating to just have someone force you to do that mid combat.
I have a weird question. I'm curious how you'd rule it. If me as the person controlling you says, I want you to cast teleport to a place that I know, but you don't.
I don't think that would work because
Because here's the deal: the spell teleport, you can teleport to places you're unfamiliar with, but the accuracy of it goes down significantly. So if you were to do that, then you would have the potential of scattering you and the people that you're teleporting to.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, if you said like teleport me to such and such castle, and you knew of said castle, but I don't think if they knew specifically, like I want you to teleport me to this castle that I've been inside of its vault. We're going inside that vault. Even with the telepathicness of I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you.
That's the thing, you're not giving it to them.
But even if you could, I still would say that it wouldn't be enough to justify the purpose of the spell. I don't.
Would it still force them to cast the spell? It would just have the effect of the effect it would have for them not knowing where they're going.
I think that would depend upon how much of the command allows, because I treat the command spells like the command aspects kind of like the wish spell. The more if, ands, and commas and buts you add, the more it's not just the same spell. Like with a wish, if you say I want a flaming sword that does ice damage and thunder damage and is 90 pounds, like that's 4 wishes, not 1, right? Versus I want a flaming sword. Like there's a fire sword, then there's a fire sword that does X,
right.
Y.
But if I just was like teleport to Mount Mordor,
but that's what I'm saying. So it's like if you just tell someone like to do something like teleport to a place you do know, like you've heard the name of but you don't know. Yes, sure. That would make sense. They're going to then do that, right? But if you try to tell them something that they can't or don't understand, I think there could be an idea there of
the command fails.
The command fails, or this conflicts, so you have a chance to save out because you don't understand the command. So it's almost like the spell weakens. Like this is how I would interpret it, because
like if somebody was like, do this math problem, and like, I don't know what the fuck this math problem is.
Yeah, or like if there was like a known spell that if it takes a chance roll to succeed, and if you fail, you could die. So they force you to cast that spell because they know it's a very difficult. Like that would be one of those ones where I'm like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense that you would just force me to cast this like thing, right? But I do feel like if it was a justifiable, like, I want you to teleport yourself away right now, then yeah, I know how to use the teleport spell, then I could. If you and I had both known of a castle and you say teleport yourself to that castle, even if I don't know it by heart, I could justifiably be like, well, I can do the spell and I know the risks, but I could still do that. So but like, if I tell you teleport to this place you've never heard of, that's not even really something that you would could or attempt.
So that I feel, but like if theoretically you had the ability to teleport and I told you to teleport to Mount Rushmore and you don't necessarily know the exact location. It would still
be well within my ability to, I could do that on my own. Like I could say, I know Mount Rushmore and I know this teleportation spell. I know the risks, but I could try.
Yes.
Then yes, that would be a command I could follow.
Okay.
But
that's kind of what I was getting
doing
at.
all of these layered commands of, yeah, I want you to
teleport to this underground basement.
Or be like, I want you to cast your teleport spell on him to send him to this location. It's like, whoa, hold on. You can tell me to teleport him, but all of these extra like nuances would start to be crazy.
Imagine. Oh my gosh.
I think it just comes down to like the logic of if the character could have come reasonably to be able to do it, then yes, the command
stuff that requires material components, like expensive material components, and it consumes
makes you waste it.
Yes, like imagine, and I don't know if you could do this, but could you cause somebody to cast a spell for like no purpose, like try to cast resurrection on somebody who's still alive?
I would say that's starting to. That basically is just telling them to burn a spell slot. And that's one of those things where that's not really something that you can do. Like even mechanically, it's like most things need a target. And if you can't, it just doesn't work. And that's where you get into, well, does it not work or do you burn the spell slot? And like that's where I come down to, if you attempted a spell and it failed, you burnt it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you attempt a spell that is impossible, like there was nothing to attempt. So
like if you didn't have the material components for something,
you can't just burn the spell slot because there's no actual ritual to
you don't have enough
spent.
to get the energy off.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's a lot of DM dependency there.
Fair enough. Okay.
But either way, yeah, I don't mind the commands, but I would like something in there, whether it's a save out from damage or, like I said, you can choose not to do the command, but take psychic damage instead and then try to save out.
Sure,
and
sure.
I think that's kind of similar to a psionic ability from second edition that allows you to take psychic damage instead of obeying.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a psionic for like friendliness where like you can make friends with somebody, and if you ask them to do something, they can always choose not to, but it will hurt them.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the way that I would go. All right. Next one up is Crushing Blow. This one also costs 2 actions. You make a Titan Strike, dealing maximum damage.
Wild.
And that maximum damage is a 6d8 plus 10 or 6d8 plus 20 necrotic damage. No, I'm sorry. 60-10 plus 20 bludgeoning damage, and they may be knocked prone and stunned if they don't make their save.
God bless America.
I'm really glad that this one doesn't automatically make
It's not an auto
the
hit.
stun. Yeah. Or just the auto stun. I'm glad that the stun doesn't auto hit.
Oh, right.
They still get a chance.
It's just max
to-
damage, but
Yeah.
and you still. The way I read that, you still have to roll to hit. It's not an auto hit. You just, if you hit,
Yeah, you
will
make
do max
a
damage.
Titan Strike that does max damage if you
Okay.
hit. True. But again, still, you're not missing with these attacks.
Got you.
And then we have Warp Step, costing 3 actions. The Sui can teleport up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space it can see.
Only way you're getting away from Sentinel.
Yeah, really.
Unless you take the disengage action or something like that. Actually, I don't think you can disengage. Can you disengage? Let me check that. I don't know if you can disengage from Sentinel.
And this can be in any direction because it can fly.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
120 seems like a bit much, but it would get it fully out of combat.
It's its dash speed.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of, it's basically like a dash. And that's the legendary action too, so it's only at the end.
and it's all 3 of them.
Yeah, so it's the only thing it's doing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice little balance though. That's not bad. And it does have layer actions. So when fighting inside of its layer, which this, especially now that we're seeing that it has layer actions, this even more so makes me feel better about what I said early on, which is if you ran into this thing more than once in 3 different locations.
Like you're like diving into like a thing and you like see it in a different couple of biomes or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
That's where I feel like this concept of these layer actions make more sense, is you see it on land first or in the sky first, then you see it on land, then you see it in the water in its layer. And then now you have to deal with its full force.
And I was right, you can't disengage from Sentinel, so you've taken that Sentinel damage no matter if you disengage or not. But teleporting is your only safety.
Right. All right. So when fighting this layer, the Sui can invoke the ambient magic to take layer actions on initiative count 20, losing initiative ties. The Sui can take 1 layer action to cause one of the following effects. A 30-foot radius area becomes a crushing gravity field. Each creature must make a DC 22 strength saving throw or be restrained until the end of Sui's next turn. It's an interesting concept. It gives me very big DBZ vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand it. It's kind of out of left field.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's like
What I would have preferred, like, I don't know why this is what's coming to mind, but because of like the psionic ability and because of just like the weirdness we've seen, it would be interesting if they could create a 30-foot radius becomes, or within a 30-foot radius, all terrain acts as one of the following and gets to choose air, land, or water. So like essentially it can illusionary say 30 foot around me, it's considered air. So it's like if you don't have a fly speed, you basically can't move, kind of like being in the astral plane without knowledge. It's like you're still on the ground, but you think you're just kind of floating there and you can't move because your brain doesn't realize you're actually standing, but your brain thinks you're floating, so it doesn't have the mechanical. So it's like otherwise it could turn everything into water. So everyone feels like they're swimming. So you would move.
you're
at
not
your
necessarily
swim speed.
breathing water.
You're not breathing
but,
water, but you are acting as if you're swimming. So if you have the swim speed, you actually get the boost.
and you could move up and down and stuff.
And
like
you can move up and down within 30 feet of the creature. So that's, I don't know why, but I'm getting that vibe of I would have much preferred, instead of this gravity field, which doesn't make sense, but literally saying that it is now, because it has all of those abilities, right? This is those speeds.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, you guys can't swim? Everything seems like water around me. So I have now my swim speed
I'm also
instead.
curious if this is and again, we don't know exactly what the layer looks like, and it'll probably depend on you as the DM, but like, is this a fixed location in your layer that this occurs in, or do I get to choose anywhere in the
layer? It
layer?
says 30-foot radius area. So it does not say centered on or in a place it can see. It just says in its layer. So I'm assuming that's anywhere in the layer, which is why I think it would be great, because it's like if the party's over there, I could just be like, hey, you guys, you want to come to me? The space in between you and me, it's air. Just the 30-foot gap in between you and me, it's air. Can you fly? Then you can't get to me. Oh, it's water because you can't swim. Oh, it's land because, like, you know, like you have a flight. Let's say you have an Aarakocra on your party. Hey, Aarakocra, you're on land now. You can't fly because 30 foot around you, it just counts as land. So you lose your fly speed.
You have to use your walking speed or whatever. It forces you to use a specific speed whenever you are inside this area.
Yes, and if anybody uses
in any direction,
right? And I know, like, someone like Cosmic, right, will sometimes use those kind of terrain features to mess with mechanics on, like, how things operate, right? Like how well you can swing a sword and stuff. Some DMs will do that. So if you change the area into water and the terrain acts like water, other things could have knock-on effects, right? Other than breathing, like, you're still regular, but anything considered anything that would be considered if you're in water is considered now.
So with this, I like this adjustment. I would, in order to still give them the restrained condition, I would say, unless you have a speed in this element, you are restrained.
Exactly. Perfect. That's kind of where I was going with. So
right.
If you can't fly, you're kind of stuck. If you don't officially have a swim speed, you just move 5 feet a turn because you're just basically treading water.
Sure.
Things like that. Like if you're basically not trained in it or have an ability in it, it ruins you. And this makes sense because imagine it's underwater and it wants to hunt. Sees a nice juicy shark. Land. Sharks just... Now the shark thinks it's just on land, sitting there like, I can't breathe, and the thing just walks up like, yum. Like, I can imagine that. Actually, this is
because if sharks can't move, they can't breathe.
So if you make the water around it land, it just literally would be like, and just act like it's flopping on land in the water.
That's wild.
Like, there's so much cool shit that I feel like that makes more sense. So again,
I do like that. That is a very cool idea.
So I don't know if the crushing gravity makes more sense because of the show. And maybe that's just because specifically of that creature.
Perhaps.
I just don't think it makes any sense whatsoever suddenly to have gravity ability. I don't know why. It just seemed like the idea of changing terrain on people mentally sounds more fun.
No, I think it's a cool mechanic. I think it kind of fits with the psionic / illusory / psychic type vibe that we've gone with so far, especially because, you know, it's way more of messing with the creature's minds rather than anything else. Now, again, I don't know enough about this creature's lair to know, like, is this a cave? Is this a building? Are there, like, technological things in this building that are allowing this gravity to occur?
True.
Does this have anything to do with the creature's ability itself, or is it specifically an effect of the layer that this creature just knows how to activate, you know?
Right. So we can make the assumption it's underwater.
Sure.
But that really also, so does it have control over the pressure? So the pressure of the water, like, there's a lot to unpack.
Imagine you make it feel like you're in, like, the depths of the ocean versus, like, you know,
because the surface.
So much pressure down there, dude.
Right.
It's wild.
So, okay. So I don't mind the restrained aspect, but yeah, something just feels off about just sudden gravity use. But anyway, we have more. We also have arcane conduits in the lair release a shockwave. All creatures of the Sui's choice. Interesting. So not just all creatures, but specifically of choice. Within 60 feet, take 8d8 lightning damage. DC 22 save for half. Interesting. I don't mind layer actions that have, like, pre-generated things, like set up, like, hey, I have these traps. That's kind of a cool concept because it does show premeditation of, like, this is my place. Again, it just feels a little out of place. I didn't really expect, you know, like, a lightning trap. I dig it. It's just not quite.
It feels kind of technological-ish, almost like a EMP type deal. And when it says within 60 feet, is that within 60 feet of the Sui?
And yeah, it says arcane conduits in the lair, all creatures within 60 feet of it. So I'm assuming all creatures within 60 feet of it. any creature of its choice within 60 feet of it takes this lightning
Of itself?
damage. Yeah.
So weird. Like how are you, as a lair action, how are you pinpointing where this thing is? Is it like, hey, wherever the Sui is, these electrical conduits like shoot a thing at the thing and then it comes out from him, or
Yeah. Oh, the layer is a spaceship.
oh, so it is technological.
Yeah, so it's all technological. So yeah, these are just like machines, which again, it just kind of feels a little bit.
I imagine like Superman's crashed ship in like the Man of Steel movie type deal.
Very much suited for a specific type of campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, again, that also makes sense. If you're in a holographic situation, you could do the terrain thing too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see. And arcane conduits. So this one's not too bad, but I would almost change the arcane conduits to all creatures of the Sui's choice within 60 feet of a surface, of a vertical surface. So like basically if you're near a wall, if you're within 60 feet of a wall, you can get hit with this, as in the security's built into it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you would have to basically
like
say that every spot on the floor and or ceiling is literally covered in this, or just there's points along the wall. So if you're within 60 feet of a wall, one of these things jets out and zaps you.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense.
I do kind of like the idea of like, even if you could just like set up these conduits around the room, like the DM will be like, hey, there's 6 of these conduits in here, and now you can see them. If you're within 60 feet of one of them when it goes off.
Don't tell them, and you just say, hey, this thing went off and you saw the lightning come from that little spot on the wall, that little thing sticking out, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And then if someone says, are there more? Be like, make a perception check. You see 6. What's going on, Rain? How you doing? So yeah, I don't mind that. I think 60 feet from the creature doesn't make sense. I think 60 feet from a wall, or like Kage suggested to the DM that these should be strategically placed on the map beforehand and then use those locations.
And I would say if you do it, because that could be crazy if it's all of them. Like imagine you set this off and you have like 6 of them around the room. That's like 6 points, 60 feet from 6 points. That's a lot of real estate. So maybe it's like you have these conduits on the wall and you can choose one of them, and anyone within 60 feet of that particular conduit will go off, right?
Yeah.
And I can choose whichever one that I want, to go off, but I can choose whichever one I want to go off, but it's only one that's going off at a time instead of like all of them.
Yeah. And the last one, the Sui calls 4 void drones that fight for him until destroyed or dismissed. And we have that coming up here in a second. Those are on a separate sheet. And the Sui can't repeat any effect until they have all been used, and it can't use the same effect 2 times in a row.
So I will say this. That is what I got from standard lair action terminology that wasn't necessarily included in the original submission.
I was assuming that we would keep it the same.
The weird aspect of this is if I can't repeat an effect until, and this is just generally speaking, because no matter how many effects you would have, I feel like the same thing would be true. But if you can't repeat effect until all of them have been used, how would it be possible for you to use the same effect twice in a row?
The third one. So like, let's say I used 30-foot radius, then I used my arcing conduit, then I called drones, and I've used all 3. I can't immediately call drones.
Got it.
So basically, it just means that the last one I used to reset, I can't immediately reuse it to start the new set.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's almost like, if you think about it, it's almost like the spells reset. So it's like if you use spell 1, it will reset the next time you use, 2 more spells.
Sure.
But when you've used that third spell, it reset the first spell. This spell's now not usable. So then you have to reset through the site. So yeah, but yeah,
you only got 2 active lights at a time. Wait.
And I can see that's probably why you don't want to be able to do gravity, arcing conduits, drones, and now you have 8 drones all out, right?
That would be wild. And
then okay. So let's look at what these drones can do. So we can summon 4 of these drones. So these drones are medium constructs.
Okay,
those are huge compared to, good sized but still huge compared to you could just summon 4 of these to fight for you.
They're the size of your enemies for sure.
So we have armor class of 18, reinforced plating. That's not terrible. Pretty high, but not terrible.
Yeah.
Hit points 136 or 16d8 plus 64, and it has a 40 walking speed, and a 80 flying speed. So this thing's faster than its master, but
Wild.
it can't swim. Which
Okay.
doesn't make any sense, though, because you would think that this thing being aquatic, but these things can't swim.
I will say,
I'd almost say that these things shouldn't be able to walk and they can only fly or swim.
because they're drones, the only thing I'm thinking of is maybe they're
It's
like
technological.
mechanical or something like that. And so swimming is just not what they're about.
And
but
since they're drones, then I would say nix the ground speed and only give them fly speed.
just have them hover.
Yeah, just there's no point in having a ground speed at that point.
Sure.
And then we have some stats. So we have strength of 20, dex of 18, constitution of 18, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 14, charisma of 8. I mean, they're drones, so we don't really know what they do. It's not a terrible spread.
It's not crazy.
I don't know why the intelligence is so high, though. I mean, I guess AI, they're semi-intelligent. They're not just mindless, I guess. Somewhat autonomous.
Sure.
Semi-autonomous.
I mean, their wisdom's higher than their intelligence.
That's true.
But yeah.
Okay. And then saving throws, we have dexterity, constitution, and wisdom. Skills, athletics, perception, and stealth. Damage resistances. They are resistant to cold, lightning, and radiant. Damage immunities. They are immune to poison, psychic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks.
That's more than the big guy, too. He's not immune to him. He's just resistant to him.
Poison makes sense, though, and psychic makes sense.
Poison
for
and
that.
psychic for sure, especially from constructs.
Condition immunities, charms, exhausted, frightened, paralyzed, and poison. Those actually all make sense.
Sure.
I'm actually really surprised not to see blinded up there, too. Like blinded and deafened.
Actually, yeah.
I kind of would expect that. Senses, it has dark vision and passive perception. Okay, fair enough. Languages, understands common and deep speech, but cannot speak. So
It can take commands from the thing in deep speech, but that's about it.
I wish that mattered more. I wish like little unique aspects like that where you could ask, like, when it gives it commands, is it speaking common? No, it speaks a different language. But like, does any of us get it? Like, oh yeah, it's speaking deep speech. And either that give you like insights into combat or be able to like suggest like, if you know the language and say you have like a feat that lets you change your voice and like voice mimicry.
Oh, we did talk about that the other day.
Being able to say, hey, I understand deep speech and I have voice mimicry. Can I give it a command? Like, can I trick it? And because these things aren't telepathic. So they are taking direct voice commands. And if it's voice recognition, I would love that from a player.
I would actually
and that's the thing is, if this thing understands that, I want DMs to say, I put that in there to matter, right? So if that matters, that it knows deep speech, I think that should be kind of like when people will go and train their dogs, especially like how police will train their dogs in German. Because the average person doesn't know it, so you can't easily overcome, the police dog by
just be like talking to the.
You can't just override it with commands, right? Because usually if you learn the command, it would be easy. But if it's in another language that you're not familiar with, how do you, hearing it, you're not just going to immediately, oh, I know what they just said. I can repeat that to the dog.
Sure.
That's kind of the idea here is I could understand that being another layer of fun for the players of like, wait, I happen to know that language and I can mimic his voice. I tell it to attack him. And that would be a fascinating turn of events. I think I would have a lot more fun playing with. But that's the kind of stuff I expect from my players.
Yeah.
Is to like, again, my players know when I would say something like that, they're like, wait a minute, you wouldn't say that for no other reason. So what does that mean that it only takes commands from that? Like, I feel like there should be some layers there. But these are only a challenge rating of 8.
Okay. It's interesting because according to the stats that they have out there, so like Dex saving throws a +8, which means that the proficiency bonus is at least a +4.
Right.
When I was going through the challenge ratings, it would generally take a 9 challenge rating to get to a +4, and at 8 would only be a +3. But I don't know if there's just some balancing that they wanted to do through that. Maybe it was just that's the vibe that they got from it. But it was just something that I noticed that when I was going through there, that their challenge rating was just a hair lower than the proficiency bonus that they got for everything. So I don't know if that makes too much of a difference, but
yeah, proficiency bonus is supposed to be equal to CR. So yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. I could see. I was kind of expecting somewhere around a CR10, but it's fine. For like what, just like a little buddy on the battlefield. So abilities, construct nature. The Void drone does not require air, food, drink, or sleep. That totally makes sense. Actions, multi-attack. The Void drone makes 2 attacks, Plasma Talon attacks, or 2 Plasma Talon attacks, or 1 Plasma Talon and 1 Void Pulse. So Plasma Talon is a melee attack, +9 to hit, reach of 5. 3d8 plus 5 slashing damage, and 2d8 radiant damage. Okay. It's actually not a terrible amount of damage, really, compared to what the real fight's doing. But there are 4 of these things. If these things surround you, that thing's gonna just
this is where he's getting his action economy. Because outside of that, it's just him.
Yeah. And Void Pulse. So you can do 2 of the Plasma or 1 Plasma Talon and 1 Void Pulse. The Void Pulse is a ranged attack, +8 to hit, at range of 60 feet, and it's a 6d8 force damage against 1 target. That's kind of hefty. And we have Overload Strike, recharge on a 5 or 6. The Void Drone discharges an unstable energy burst. All creatures in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on itself make a DC 16 dexterity saving throw, taking 10d8 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much on a success. The Void Drone takes 5d8 damage when using this attack. I like that.
I do like that.
I wouldn't even mind, because 5d8 damage... honestly, I would not mind if...
But it was half its hit die max?
Honestly, I wouldn't even mind that when it does Overload Strike, it takes its remaining HP and equally deals it among all affected targets.
Not like that's just the damage it does, but it like splits that damage.
Yeah, so if it has 100 points of damage and hits 2 targets, each of them are just taking 50.
Okay.
Like, so it explodes, and it's going to go off the battlefield. Like, it's gone off the battlefield.
Oh, so
it's
like this is like a self-destruct.
I would prefer the Overload Strike literally be an overload and it self-destructs. It just basically, whatever HP it has left, or maybe like a die roll plus whatever HP is left gets divided. So, doing like, a 10d8 plus the rest of its hit points equally divided between everybody. Something like that.
Imagine if that was the first thing it did. Just blew it up out the gate. Like,
dude, can you imagine
plus 160 whatever?
What about all 4 of them? You just summon them. All 4 of them just surround a target that you stun locked, and then they just
bye, Felicia.
It's like this
nuke going off.
What are the
God bless America.
The little the Cybermen or whatever, the Cyberbots from DBZ, when they just attach and then yeah.
Freaking wild, man.
But yeah, so that's not terrible. I just think it would be a little bit more interesting if it was a true like self-destruct. But I do like it that it takes damage. I like that it's not just like an explosion. So that's pretty cool. And then they have reactions. Void Reflex. When the Void Drone is hit by a ranged attack, it can impose disadvantage on the attack roll by activating an energy distortion field.
Okay.
So basically using a reaction.
Just because I've heard it in other terminology, I would love to hear the addition, just like a little blurb at the end saying potentially causing the attack to miss. So basically it's when you're hit with a ranged attack, I impose disadvantage to potentially change the outcome of that hit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Deal. So
just to be more clarifying on what that exactly that means.
Yes. Just because like reading this, it's like, is it the next attack roll? Or is it the attack roll that triggered it? Is it like, is you just basically saying just re-roll it and take whichever one's
there's another piece that I think is only going to be beneficial to the lore, not to balancing. So I'm going to say that right now. So this isn't really a balance. I mean, it could be considered a balance if you wanted to make this a little bit more, like if you wanted to bring it down a notch, I can consider this a balance by detriment. But this is more of a balance for lore and not balance by detriment.
Sure.
I would like this to say that when the Void Drone, or when a Void Drone is hit by a ranged attack, or no, I would change the verbiage to whenever a Void Drone is a target of a ranged attack that another drone can see, it can activate this.
Okay.
So a drone by itself, it's the last drone, wouldn't be able to use it.
Okay.
And the lore of it is that because they're all like individualized sensors and it's kind of like an AI thing, basically if one can see the other and it's about to get hit, it's like a, hey, you're about to get hit, take evasive action.
Got you. It's like warning system type deal.
That Has nothing to do with balance. I think it could be balanced by detriment.
Sure.
I don't think it needs it. I don't think that's going to add a great dynamic to the fight. I just think that for lore purposes, it sounds kind of better if this reflex is dependent on another drone being able to sense that it's happening.
Got you.
So even just saying that is this, they can use this as long as there's one other drone up. Even that could just be the verbiage.
Okay.
Is that when the drone is hit by a range attack and there's at least one other drone still active, you can do this.
Got
and
you.
just again, just to tie in that lore that they're all basically watching each other's backs.
I feel that.
And it's hey, you're about to get hit, take evasive action, dodge, do your shield. And again, the only real detriment is it can't do it by itself. Or if you get one, if you cast darkness, or if you get it behind a wall, like basically, as long as it's cut off from line of sight, it can't use it.
Now, granted, it's a reaction, so like there's not like a huge detriment to wasting it because you can do it every turn. But the way this is written is it's always going to be potentially helpful. And the way you articulated it, if I activate it just when I'm the target and they miss anyways on the first one, then I didn't need to use it and I could have theoretically saved my reaction for something else. But these guys don't really have a whole lot of other reactions except for like attacks of opportunity or something like that. So I think either way, it's not going to be that great.
That's what I say. It has nothing to do with balancing. I just think that sounds kind of unique. But yeah, so that was the Void Drone. And 4 of those can be summoned as part of the layer action. So this is not something that this is going to just do anytime you pull it out in a fight. It's only going to happen in its layer action. I would like to see, and this is both for Soul as well as just in general, I think what I would like to see for future builds and just for 5e in general, when we're discussing layer actions really should have at least a 2-sentence piece, kind of like this is, discussing what the layer is. Just like how Soul let us know that it is a spaceship, which makes all of these make a lot more sense. You know, why you only get the void drones there, why there's gravity, control, why there's a shockwave that can come out of the walls. That makes sense when you know it's in a spaceship. But I would notice that we don't really get to see that ever when we see layer actions. We never know what the situation is. You kind of have to infer it based off the creature. So I think that's going to be an encouragement of mine moving forward, similar to the encouragement that creatures should have unique loot as part of their build. Like, when they have that, here's an optional piece of loot that you can find.
Right.
When defeating it. I think layer action should also be encouraged to have a 1 to 2 sentence starter. Right before where it says, when fighting inside.
Mm-hmm.
I think there should be a 1 to 2 sentence starter that explains
what their layer is.
The layer is. Because if we had been told right out the gate, this is a spaceship, all of this would have made sense. I would have immediately understood where the gravity came from. I would have immediately understood the pythons with the shockwaves. I would have immediately understood why I get drones, but why I can't have those anywhere else.
Yeah.
But we don't see that because it's not required. So I think my encouragement is if you're going to have layered actions when you do your build, just tag it with again, this only needed a spaceship. If I knew it was a spaceship, would have explained everything.
Yeah.
Whether it's a dungeon, a cave, a underwater, whatever.
Put like a small blurb in the pre-description that says its layer is a spaceship, or it's like too. Like whatever the case may be. It would be helpful to like walk into this knowing that. So no, I totally feel you.
So that's kind of where I'm at with this, but I do like the layer actions. I think that just more context is good. The legendary actions, most of these were actually pretty good. I don't think any of these were too big of an issue for us. I know we liked the warp step. I think is probably the best one out of all of them. The tentacle grab is also good. Being tentacle grab and crushing blow, basically being able to re-up your action economy is actually kind of nice for layer actions. And the psychic domination, I think we need a little bit more verbiage in here to clean it up and let us know what you can exactly do with it.
Yeah.
And lots of action economy in terms of the attacks. There's so many crazy combos I can imagine happening if you get some good rolls.
Yes, but I like the fact that the way the multi-attack is set up and the way the ranges for what you have are set up, and especially if we take your idea and say your Dread Tentacle only works at 15 and 20. I think that would be so valuable for mitigating this guy's action economy, right? Yes, you get 3 attacks, and yes, you can do all 3 of them on one turn, but the Cosmic Disruptor you're not always going to have. So it's mostly just the 2 attacks, Titan Strike and Dread Tentacles, and being able to use those things creatively, I think is huge. So I do like the way the multi-attack is set up with all the things that they have. And then your Void or your Terror of the Void just takes your entire action.
Yeah.
So
I think so as well. All right. So looking back at all of this. So of course, I had to take into account there is the 2 initial marks off of the compatibility score, mainly because it is already from an established IP, and it is kind of like a one-to-one, well, not a one-to-one, but it is a representation of an IP, and it's very setting specific. This definitely doesn't feel like something you're just going to throw into a dungeon or,
sure.
just throw in as a BBEG's like side pal. So got to take that into consideration. I do think it's very unique. I do think that it has some fun aspects to play with. I don't know if it's really standing out to me as something that's very inspirational. Like, I'm not really getting like, man, there's a lot of things missing here, but there are a lot of really cool ideas that I think more DMs could play with here. Right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not as a whole, but there were definitely some elements. Like there was I forgot exactly what it was. I should have written it down, but like a small rant that we went off of on one of the things that we had a really cool idea of a different, unique way to use something that was in here. So, I appreciate that at the very least.
Yeah. So I will say though that while I'm hesitant to say that this is a really good D&D fit, as little as I know about Ben 10, from what I can understand about what the build's trying to come across as, while it may be a little bit too overpowered in a lot of areas, especially with its stats, and while it may not seem to fit the D&D style mechanic of fighting in combat, I do think it at least represents what it's doing what it's trying to do well.
Sure.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a fully complete idea, but I think that's because it's being based off of something. So again, some areas seem to fall short. It doesn't seem to start and finish all at once. It doesn't seem to like tell a story. But as I go through it, while the fight seems difficult, it seems like it does accomplish what it's trying to. It does make this character, I feel, representative of what they were trying to do in the show. Like, I can kind of see what this creature is trying to do from the point of view of going around, taking the best aspects of anything it fights, and trying to become better. The fact that it has enough variety and enough different usages, but not in a way that makes it feel like a mishmash.
Okay.
This thing doesn't feel like it's just a compilation of just random effects. Reading them all together, I can see a picture of something being driven to bring all of these things together. If that makes more sense, right? It's not like, oh, this perfectly makes sense for a race to have been developed this way. But if you tell me that something is out there strategically making itself more powerful, and then you told me that this is what it found, I could buy it.
And the fact that this particular creature in its lore says that it's the last one. So having these specific mutations fully on this one, like I could see like this race having some variations throughout because who knows what generation you were a part of. But the fact that this is the one that's left.
Right. It feels like the build doesn't feel like perfectly like it tells a story, but the story that it does tell makes sense for it being controlled. Like, this is a controlled evolution of someone with dedication, right? So
sure.
That's where I think it'll get a saving grace and not fall into obscurity of just being unusable. Because again, the compatibility is more than just what the stats and what the abilities are. It's the idea as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think with this one, again, can't give it too much because of the IP, but it doesn't deserve to be just like thrown, to the wayside. I just feel that it's a difficult sell. A lot of things probably just need to be depowered. And I think a few detriments could be added so you don't have to like bring everything down.
Right.
But I do feel like it's a little bit too strong to justify. So for the compatibility, I think we will give this one a down the middle 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
I
Okay.
think that it's worth looking at, and it's a good way, it's a good representation of bringing something into a TTRPG, but it's also a good representation of not everything translates well.
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's not completely unusable as is, but it definitely represents the difficulty of transitioning things into a static TTRPG kind of like round-based system.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But hopefully, Soul, you enjoyed that. It was actually really fun to read through this. Thank you so much for sending this over.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I always love Soul submissions. They have some very, very cool, very out of the box, and I love the inspiration that you have on a lot of your stuff. So it's very cool.
While I do appreciate the consistency, like some, from someone like Cosmic, where we get things that are pretty consistent and pretty like you can see the entire picture being built over time. I really also appreciate that we never quite know what we're going to get from Soul.
Yes.
Because of the variety. It's not like, oh my God, we just get the most random shit that doesn't make any sense and nothing connects. But just the simple fact that we go from one type of extreme to the next with these builds, and they all tell their own unique story is what I like about them.
Yeah.
So, I'm really curious to know what you thought. And if if you do take any of the ideas, let us know. But otherwise, I hope that it at least gave you some confidence in moving forward with the build. But again, thank you so much for sending this over to us. And if you all out there have your own submissions, you can, of course, send them to us in our Discord, and we will get you added to the list for Monday's review. But otherwise, that's going to be it for the review process today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.
Good job. Thank you so much, Soul, for that. The Void Drones are super interesting.
Right?
I like the fact, I think my favorite part about the Void Drones is the fact that they're a custom unique summons, and I kind of get tired of the thing just having basic minions or a summoning spell.
Sure.
Like, you can just summon fake creatures or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are nice and all, but when you can say like it has a dedicated minion, it makes everything about the encounter feel much more alive, much more dynamic, because you're just like, okay, this is something that feels like it belongs here versus, oh, we're in the middle of this cave that we found in the desert after traveling, across the astral plane, and now there's, an Ent and 5 direwolves. Okay, this makes sense, but like this thing like perfectly makes sense that you're in its zone and all of a sudden these like drones pop out of the walls, right? Like that makes sense. I don't want to have you suddenly summon 6 snakes, when we're, next to, like a volcano that's about to like go off.
Like, where the hell do these freaking snakes come from?
Yeah, it's just I much prefer having like customized kind of minions like that. So that was a really good addition too. But other than that, I think that's going to be us for tonight. Really good review. Thank you so much. Friday will be more OSR, and we will discuss where we're at, where we're going with it, and I will make more effort to finish that up by the end of August so we can actually have a beta or an alpha test, if not a beta test. Up next might be the build based on either the Diamond Head or feedback.
Who said what now?
Soul just said up next might be the Diamond Head or feedback.
Oh, for Soul's submissions.
Next one, yeah. By the way, what's Soul's average and what is the next item?
Soul's average posted up in the Discord is now a 6.
All right.
And the next submission also posted up in our submissions or our scheduled channel is actually coming from Pokeniner. It is his, I believe it's the Barbarian subclass, Path of the
Abandoned.
Path of the Abandoned. Yes.
That sounds fascinating.
So I'm curious the direction we're going when it comes to Abandoned and whatnot like that. But when it comes to stuff that Pokeniner submits, like I'm very intrigued. They're usually always very, very much so. I don't want to say by the book because it's homebrew, but it's one of those things where it very much follows a trend. It feels balanced according to what a lot of other 5th edition stuff is. And so, but they always have some very unique and very intriguing ways of implementation. So I'm here for it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you already gave me whatever updates I need for this particular one. Pokeniner, so we should be good to go. Yeah, Path of the Abandoned. I got that update back at the end of June, actually. So we are gravy on that front.
God, I will never get over how little people actually listen to content on TikTok. It just blows my mind every single time I open up a comment, and I'm just like, tell me you didn't listen to a word I said without telling me you didn't listen to a word I said. I love it. I did one of my more controversial ones recently where I said that the act of reading doesn't make you smarter.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, I went on, and then I even did a follow-up video, and I just had someone post on that thing, because I said, remember, like the whole point was the act of reading, and the whole follow-up was about how, like, it matters what you read. It matters what you do with it. Retention and actual like it's just more than just consumption. And of course, just people who, just have to say something instead of actually interact, but just have to react. All they said was, yeah, retaining what you read does. Like,
listen,
that you literally missed the point. If you're telling me that retaining matters, like, yes, thank you. That's not the act of reading. That's like, thank you for proving my point.
With ADHD, and I've read an entire page of a document and then stopped reading and been like, I don't know anything that I just read. I have to go back and read every word again because I don't remember a single fucking second of it.
I love when people are just so oblivious to the fact of like, yes, thank you, dear summer child, for proving exactly what I just said. My statement of the act of reading won't make you smarter. But retaining it and thinking that will, it's like, yeah, thank you. That was exactly the fucking point I was making. You dolt. Listen.
People are wild.
No, people don't want to listen to what you say. They just want to react to what they heard.
Listen, they are more interested in being right. And by being right, I specifically mean making you wrong.
Yes, right? They want to be right, not correct.
I just need to be... You are wrong. I need to articulate how wrong you are, no matter whether it's accurate or not. It's just
just like the other comment I got on the same post. Someone literally wrote, "You're wrong, and I don't care what your justification is." And so my only response was, "Tell me you're closed-minded without telling me you're closed-minded," because like literally, you were wrong, and I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to have an adult conversation because you're just wrong. I'm like, why should I even continue reading any other word you say? Because at that point, you've literally tainted the well so terribly at that point.
Right.
You have literally told me the conversation is over. So why are that's why my only response was, hey, you know what? Tell me you're closed-minded without telling me you're closed-minded. Because if you're going to tell someone they're wrong, but then close down the conversation, then what do we do? Like literally, I love most of the time, like I don't block anybody, but those kind of comments I usually don't respond to. But a lot of the times I just put them to the wayside because I'm just like, I'm not here for that kind of drama. But when you're just that much of an idiot, I'm gonna call you out on it. I'm sorry, but if you're literally gonna start a conversation with "you're wrong," but I want to listen to your justification, be like, so I'm not gonna listen to yours either because your justification has not. You've literally already told me that your justification doesn't matter if it's true or false. You don't care about fact. You just want me, like you just said, I just want you to know that you're wrong. We're not here to talk about it. We're not here to prove anything. I just need you to know you're wrong in my opinion.
I watched one of those videos the other day where people will go up to the microphone when somebody's having a whatever, and they're not necessarily debating them, but they're there to ask a question about something, a lot of the times to trip them up or trap them in something. And when the person fully explains themselves and articulates themselves great, the person intentionally misunderstands their response. Now, if it's intentional or unintentional, it was just it was like, oh, so basically what you're saying is X, Y, and Z. I get it, and then walks away from the microphone without even bothering to listen
to confirm.
No, that's not what I said.
Yeah,
that's
here's the narrative.
But like,
I want to let you know. Here's the narrative I built in my head about what you just said, and I'm not going to let you correct it. By that's just like this is what I'm taking away from this.
It's so wild.
Interesting. Bender Rodriguez for a pop culture build. That could be interesting. I'm already getting it. He's definitely a rogue barbarian artificer. So he is a tri-class. He's a rogue barbarian artificer. He's definitely Warforged.
Are we talking about Futurama?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know his last name was Rodriguez. I was like...
But I'm also going to say that I want to add in a specialty that he is specifically... The reason why he's an artificer, the reason why we have to throw an artificer in there. He might not be a barbarian. Maybe he's just a rogue artificer. But... I would definitely add in the fact that he's an artificer and a warforged, but I'd also add part of his backstory that he is fused. Like the warforged part fused with a bag of holding.
Oh, for his
his just basically compartment. So I would just say that that's how that works. Is like he's a warforged, a bag of holding, warforged, fused.
I would also say there is got to be something in his anatomy. Because whenever he's sober, he's drunk. And whenever he's drunk, he's sober.
It could just be like a character flaw where he must consume alcohol or
like,
suffer
that's his fuel source or something like that. Like, that's so wild.
But yeah, Bender definitely has to have some like jack of all. That's why I think he's kind of a jack of all trades. He is strong, but he doesn't really like fight. So it's like he's more of a
I can do like a drunken monk a little bit, maybe perhaps. He's got like a one of those 2x4s is his weapon.
That's why I feel like a rogue can cover a lot with subclasses. Like you can cover a lot with rogue and artificer, like battlesmith kind of thing. Like there's some things there that we could work
possibly with.
Bender. Okay. Yeah. Throw that in the Discord.
Love it.
All right. So yeah, more OSR coming on Friday, more reviews coming up on every Monday. And of course, regular game streams. Well, not regular, but game streams from me throughout the week and on the weekends. Coding streams on Tuesdays if you see Kage online. But other than that, we are focusing hard on our TikTok account this week. This is we're trying to stretch to 1,000 followers by the end of the month, since next month is our 1 year anniversary. So if you haven't checked us out on TikTok, please do so.
Our 1 year subscriber anniversary or just TikTok?
TikTok anniversary, like our 100, just our 1 year. So if you all are, whoopsie. But yeah, if you all aren't following us on TikTok, please do. If you are following us and you know anybody who would like our content, please share some of our shorts with them, and suggest that they give us a follow. It would really help us out getting to that 1,000 mark. But other than that, I'm still working on the website, and just that's going to come out in phases as we get the side projects done. So expect OSR to come out, and then after OSR, probably the DICE project. And then once the DICE project's launched, we will probably advance the website into March. And then the entire time this is all going to happen, I'm also continuing to work on the Oracle, but that has to be kind of re-envisioned just because I need to stop treating it like a hobby and start actually treating it like a business decision. So I need to stop fucking around with vibe coding and actually find someone who can do it. So yeah, basically things are happening. A lot's going to happen over the next 6 months, but right now the biggest things that we can focus on and look forward to, basically the launch of OSR and aspects of the website for merch. Those are the two next biggest things over the next couple months that I'm going to be solely focused on, just so we can start getting some stuff. But yeah, other than that, Soul, let us know in the Discord when your minis arrive. We would love to see some pictures. I'd like to see. Yep. I would love to see your reaction. Even if just doing like an unboxing would be kind of cool. Like just to see like how it turned out.
Right.
It's like I remember how it turned out, and I was like looking at it for a couple of days, but like now that it's gone, I'm just like, does it really look that good? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think back on it. I'm like, because the other thing that's crazy too is like I didn't take like a crap ton of like memorabilia photos. Like I don't have like a ton of photos of it, so. Sure. I kind of just, it's kind of one of those things where it's like,
you can always go back to the stream and take some screenshots or some shit, but
yeah, but I'll just steal all the photos that Soul takes. And Nugget too. Nugget has to go check the mailbox.
Right. But I do think that would be cool. Even the what about the original ones? The ones we did at the game shop.
Well, one of them is with Vixie because that's their trophy. So Vixie has the owl bear that I did
Oh, that's
as,
right. That's
as her
right.
trophy. And you still have your.
I did. I sent those in the Discord. My little dice jail.
Yep.
My little slimy dice jail.
That was it. Yeah, those were the first ones that we did.
Yeah. So I think we could create a little. I forgot where I put them in the Discord. Is there?
Yeah. So I think one of the things I'm gonna do is now that I have, like, I personally don't want to get that into minis, but I think along with the dice channel, I think so. Misfit Gamer Studios will have the dice channel, and of course we'll have like different types of merch that eventually we'll be doing. But I really do think that we will probably do more of these pop-up streams where I'm just like, hey, I am going to do a mini paint, but I'm going to do a stream. So I'll do the stream while I'm painting, right? Because content. But as soon as I'm done with it, like maybe I'll do a stream for a weekend where I'll just sit down for a couple hours and just paint multiple minis. Just try to bust them out as much as I can.
Okay.
And the idea is as soon as it's done, I'll take pictures and then just post it on the website. And then just build out a merch shop of painted minis that, we've done. And I feel like there's a big difference between like just selling painted minis and selling dice versus selling those things that come along with an experience. Like when you buy our mini, it comes with a link for you to go watch me do it on stream and watch like the conversation and how we did it. Some of them could be fun where on certain ones, I will have like chat choose every color. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to start working on this. Chat, vote on a color. And boom, that's the color. So there could be more story behind it than just I want a pre-painted mini.
Yeah.
I've even I've even thought so far as I don't think I'm going to be ever good enough artist to say like, hey, send me a blank mini and I'll paint it for you. Like that might be a little bit weird because I'm not that good of an artist.
Sure.
But I have thought about doing that for the dice, like the dice profile. Like if someone says like, hey, you have some really cool dice, I just want the profile, like how much to authenticate. So they send me a die, like they would mail me their D20.
Oh, interesting.
And then, or maybe they'll send me a brand new one, like, hey, I just bought this. I haven't really used it. It's still in the box. Will you profile it for me? And so they would send it to me, and then I would do the video, do the thing, send it back to them, and they would just pay for basically like the server.
Right. Imagine if somebody like bought a die like online, but like sent the address to like a PO box of ours or something, and then
we would do it. Yeah. So
we got it fresh.
Those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about expanding into, other than just general merch, is things that we can produce and create and then send out.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's where we're at. Hopefully that sounds exciting to all of you.
Cool.
Other than that, that's going to be us for the rest of the day. We will be back later this week doing stuff. But OSR this weekend. I'm really excited to show off what we have so far. I am hoping, I don't want to give anything away, but I am hoping to have more than I have right now to display on Friday. So I have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
But like I said, the goal is to have at bare minimum an alpha build, which means a playable version of some sort, most likely fully manual, which means that we'll have displays of things, and then people will just have to tell us what they're doing, and then we narrate it, and then we move everything ourselves. The beta version so alpha and beta will be for subs only. So alpha will just be any playable version, mostly all manual. Beta will be when the interface is being tested, where it's going to be more like Jaxbox, where you can log in, have an interface, and then official launch will be when we can officially let any chat just jump in the queue.
Cool.
So yeah, wish us luck for that. Otherwise,
man.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. We will see you guys on Friday. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.
Have a fantastic rest of your week. Or a great week. I don't know. I hope you had a fantastic weekend and a great week ahead of you. Cheers.